lots of damage coming out from
the
AA chilling touch.
Yeah, and a stray torrent setting up the cold feet to kick in could certainly result in a kill. First try there onto Arfu. All to set up with the root and the hole coming through from 1437.
Exactly what they need to do.
Man down really low. Arfu tries to throw the torrent to block it, but Raven jukes it out, going in for the kill.
Oh, they get the first blood on Monet.
Yeah, he gets it first.
That's what they need to do, though. TNC needs to try to make that blow happen right at level 1, but
that must have been fractions of a second there that Monet got that in time. But he did indeed that extra 100 or so bonus down to the first blood. Very much welcomed here on this safe lane for LFY.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm pretty in fear of TNC keeping that tri-lane down there now, to be quite honest with you. If they expended a lot of their resources, they used a lot of regen, they used a lot of their mana as well, and they're playing into a first blood, a Void who just got first blood. So he gets that surge of gold, he's able to pick up his wand, or pick up his stick, and he already has 6 stick charges. It's going to be very hard to threaten this Void. They can kill the supports, but actually testing the Void's farm is very difficult for them.
Looking at the other lanes as well, we have a slight edge in the mid lane here for Samage. But I guess it's about a 5-6, about a wave or such ahead of the Bristleback. So making use of this slightly favoured advantage, but as you say, the wand is out onto Super, has 10 stick charges. Very unlikely for this Bristle to die in this matchup, just to be kept a little behind when it comes to CS. And on the top lane as well, in Flame, slight edge for him as well. We saw them fighting around with sentries down and such, but the quicker D ward was out from Cuckoo.
The nice thing is he can always just TP out because there's no stun from the Broodmother, but Brood can overwhelm at one point with too many Spiderlings, and you have to play pretty fearful on the Nature's Prophet. I don't really see this matchup happen too often. It's been a very long time since I see a Nature's Prophet. I don't really see this matchup happen too often. It's been a very long time since I see a Nature's Prophet versus Brood.
Bottom lane again. Down to Arfu, just holding him at bay though. To still have the Salve, 8 stick charges still being saved up on the Void. So very hard really for any of the games, any of the lanes to get the kills early on. Everyone has potential to turn, potential to hit back.
I'd say after the first blood, LFY is leading quite a decent margin. They're not really slowing down the Void, which is what they're trying for.
There we go again. They are going to make the jump in onto DDC, getting nuked down low by the Purifying Flames. Raven picks up the kill. Monet has jumped forward. He's looking for 1437. A Bash would do it. Doing a time walk under the tower will secure the finisher. Raven punished this. Doesn't look like he will have to let it go. So again, just the 1-for-1 trade.
Flame TP's in though, and they're actually making the lane adjustment. They don't feel like Bristle wants to be versus the bat at this point. They want to put the Fury on mid, perhaps, or Nature's Prophet mid. I'm going to say Fury on a lot, just putting that out there.
Super up towards the top lane. And this is going to mean no space for Sam. But actually, Cuckoo...
They're moving the lanes.
Yeah, they're moving it in response. TNC wanting to make sure that they can keep tabs on Super's Bristle by having the bat against him rather than this Broodmother. See what the call is from LFY if they want to make the move again. But TNC just doing their best to keep a step ahead in terms of the lane matchups.
I love when these kind of lane swaps happen. I hope another one happens. I like when you just see people like TPing back and forth and everyone's like following around. It just looks fun.
It becomes very chaotic between the sides. Yeah. Farm for both the safe laners, Raven.
He's still farming on the Nog at least.
Him and Monet on the same track at the moment. Pretty much equal in experience and CS. Both getting what they came for down in this bottom lane, which maybe is not as good of a sign for TNC. Perhaps they were expecting to be able to slow down this Void a little bit more than they are. But at the moment, as it has been, Monet, he's got himself involved in 2 kills.
He's got Treads over Venom. He's perfectly fine with what's going on here. They're making a committed play onto here, but Flame is keeping into the back for TNC.
Yeah, they're going to look to try and turn it rather White Sprout out, but immediately
the bots
trying to make that cold feet proc, but can't quite get enough of the block stop. But we saw how close it was there. If they are able to achieve that sort of a play.
And how much damage comes out. Like as soon as Inflame TPs, you see DDC throws the Chilling Touch on him for that bonus damage. So now it's 5 minutes in. If Inflame wants to, he can try to siege a bit with this Catapult Wave, but he doesn't want to split the 4-way experience. Wants to be efficient with his resources.
And they move Cuckoo down here as well. Wherever the pressure is, they try and get the Broodmother in that lane to sort of slow it down.
They might be able to get Super here mid. He's pretty far out, and they have Lasso on Sam H.
Yeah, they've certainly got their reposition. He's already got 2 stacks upon him. There's the drag back. At the same time, Cuckoo actually gets a solo kill by the looks of it down on the Kunkka as well. Gets the action done, so kill in the mid lane, a freebie for Cuckoo down bottom. I'm not quite sure how he got away with that, with it, but still with the AA and the Void in the neighborhood, but must have just overwhelmed him with the spiders, as you talked about.
They don't really have good ways to deal with the Brood besides the Bristle still at this point. Early levels, these Spiderlings, AA and Kunkka, are super susceptible to dying to them just if they step out of position. And now he's level 6, so the spiders are starting to add up, and the damage is pretty absurd versus these low armor heroes like the AA.
SamH just on the search to see if there's any sort of stacks being created for LFY. We'll get his eyes onto DDC though. In fact, with the Raven Naga being in the neighborhood, they could go for this one. Money's going to try and come in to slow them down. The Torrent will connect.
With the Ninja Prophet ult.
And that's going to bring him down. The Nature's Wrath doing huge amounts. DDC actually ends up surviving as he gets himself away. They'll try and trap Raven with the Sprout, but he cuts himself out. So nice turnaround there from LFY. And again, Cuckoo says, you want to go to that lane, I'll come to that lane as well. This spooky spider trying to do his best to instill himself in the nightmares of LFY.
Perfect by Inflame though, like that's why we see him decide not to go for that tower pressure, right? He goes to the jungle so he can make sure he gets that level 6 at a very early time to get involved with that Wrath of Nature. Because the damage on it early on, it's very unexpected. People always forget about that Nature's Prophet ultimate bouncing around right around that 7-minute or 6-minute period. Tims, they've pretty much parked him out toward that top lane for the time being to farm, while everybody else is kind of making the moves around the map. Opera wants to punish though. The Dust is online with the sentries, gets the Torrent connection too.
Does still have the Burrow Strike. As long as he can save it until after the X-Mark bring back, he may have a chance here. Holds onto it, there he goes.
He's TPing out.
And he should make it. No way without the Torrent and the X-Mark to hold him back. So nice little play there to get Tims out of it.
But they force him completely out of the lane, and that lead gives Inflame a completely free one. And yeah, Senking's not farming during that.
And Cuckoo's moving again. I mean, he made the move all the way towards the mid lane. Now he's back down towards the bottom. He's going to look to put some pressure on Monet. Has still got a fair amount of spiders.
It's scary. Like, honestly, Cuckoo's making a lot of moves around. He can get the kill and stuff, but his net worth is starting to suffer because of how much he has to move around. It's only 2,800 net worth. Of course, it's the same as the Nature's Prophet, but this was the last pick Brood. You know, this is supposed to be like last pick Brood. This is the game winner, and it's not really having that effect so far in the laning phase.
Top lane, Tims towards farming up that blink. We are going to see the setup there by the Torrent.
They've got Wrath of Nature this time, and then they know the TP is still on cooldown for
Still
Tims.
a tricky one to catch.
Yeah.
Arfu, he did have the X-Mark, but of course wouldn't have had the secondary Torrent to combo it with.
Scared to dive. Diving under towers, their damage isn't really that great, so they got to just wait it out, find a better opportunity for that one. But yeah, LFY, going out of the laning phase, their team fight is way stronger than TNC. TNC wants to split up the map and get pickoffs and have the Broodmother kind of dominate the lane while the rest of them fight elsewhere and use the Naga Sleep to avoid those fights. But it's very hard for them to avoid fights with the momentum that LFY will be gaining once they've got the Vanguard on the Bristle to force buildings.
SamH just seeing what he can do here, has found himself a double stack.
Oh, convenient. Problems.
Clear it up. I mean, this is going to put him very close to that Blink Dagger. 1600 at the moment. It's going to get them large camp as well by the looks of it.
The Dream Creeps, the Ancient Prowlers, are so amazing for Batrider and like Shadow Fiend, like these heroes that farm with magic damage. And getting an Arcane Rune, he's going to have Firefly up again in no time to be able to continue that. And like you said, yeah, Blink going to be at a very good time. So they can maybe play around that one and try to get some pickoffs onto the Nature's Prophet or the Void. The Bristle's starting to get pretty tanky though.
Arfu up top, looking to set up, does get the X-Mark into the Torrent, onto Tims. He will go for the Sandstorm, but the Dust is out. The presence of Inflame and DDC. And more than enough damage there with the Chilling Touch to claim Tim's life.
Monet just wants to have no business with a Broodmother. Moves out of that bottom lane. It's starting to become overwhelming with the amount of spiders. And Kuko's going to be able to pressure that tower quite a lot. He's actually going to kill this bottom tower super quickly with that Brood. And now maybe they try to make a move with the Chrono, but they want to instead do their own pressure at the same time. How's our levels looking on supports? We're 4 and 4 on Oracle and Kunkka, and Senking AA are both level 5. So they're doing, as expected, the Tome is now online for the 10-minute mark for those 6s.
Super trying to farm out some of the spiders here, but don't quite get the finishing Quill Spray Splurt to do so. Room alive, mid lane, Monet, manning up to 1437, not quite finding the bashes though. Does have this Chrono, if he sees a chance to finish off a kill. And in playing with the drums, definitely a pickup that can help enable the Void. You know, get that Chrono, get the Natures in, pop the drums charge.
It's just such a good item on Nature's Prophet.
Yeah. In fact, making a bit of a try here, but
they actually forced the Chrono out.
And with the disarm, can they actually keep Cuckoo alive? Looks like they can. Very nicely done. The Chrono baited out, and TNC lose nothing.
2 minutes, no Chrono. But what can they make of it? They have to use the Batrider lasso. He's going to have Blink Dagger soon. They can try to make a play around that one.
Super trying to keep control of Sam H down at this bottom lane. Super's still at the top of the net worth. Not moving in. Sam H does need help. In fact, Super's going to be the one that needs help. Inflame TP's in. Firefly's not enough to get Sam H out of there. Can TNC punish LFY for diving this deep? That's the question.
Bristle's very tanky.
He's with this Vanguard and with this cloak. He's not an easy takedown, and he's got the presence of Arfu. They're making their way back out. 1437's there, but LFY, they have the numbers. They're just going to look towards the Oracle, try and make a go. He has got the Shrine Heal. Raven coming in with the sleep. But TNC, can they really actually
do this?
They've got to sleep and get out. They cannot fight LFY around this Bristle, around this point. Indeed, they just have to leave it be, and if anything, potentially let LFY take this tower. They've got Sam H coming back in. Was if they could do anything about this, get some sort of a grab. They have the route onto the Bristle. He's the hardest target to go on. They are going to try and make
the X.
As they dragging back, but indeed, Arfu breaks it with the X, meaning the Tim's epicenter are not quite in range. Now they get back in, but Tim,
oh no!
Pop. This is Bristleback getting to his full potential. The false promise!
Beautiful, man.
Very nicely done by 1437, and with the heal, that should be enough to keep Tim's alive. Very clutch save there from the Oracle. They do bring down Super, that big old kill. That's given the money for Sam to finish off the Blink Dagger. Very nicely done there.
Defending that tower too, that's early tier 1.
Maybe see if they can get anything straight off the back of it. Looking towards our food. See. Oh, DDC, got a bit of a spider problem.
Oh, the Centaur stun. It's Cuckoo. Trying to help out DDC.
Tim's there as well. Maybe they could look to try and catching out Mono in the mid lane. He is in the webs.
They have a lot of burst.
They are going to try and close it in. At the same time, bottom lane Sama, he did get the kill on Arfu, so they get the kill top. They get the pick off bottom. Now Super, sort of on his own here. He's stuck in the Firefly. Same time, a lot of Quill Spray stacks building up onto the members of TNC, so they have to be careful. Raven will hold back the Bristle with the net. And he will continue to be chased. I mean, Super knows that there's no Shrine here, as it's already been used. He's going to dive in for this one.
He's straight committing. Inflame's still not TPing in.
3 Quill Spray stacks on Raven. I don't know, can 1437 save this? He hasn't quite got false promise, I don't think. He's got the Fate Edict and the Purifying Flames, trying to heal him back up. And maybe Super's now overstepped the mark. He gets Flame broken back. Stick charges are used. Purifying Flames, nuking him down low. But 1437 didn't quite have the mana to purge it back off, so Super's only going to get healed up from this. Cuckoo coming in with the rotation. The boat in onto the Spiders. It's not going to connect. Monet does find the Chrono onto Cuckoo. The bash there as well. They'll bring down Brood as well.
Those are huge kills there. Super just with no fear whatsoever. He knows his team is going to be coming for the backup eventually. And this is the problem we're talking about.
Yeah.
This Bristleback with the Vanguard, he's building toward the hood as well to deal with that heavy magic damage that TNC does have. And then after that, there's really limited chances for them to kill this Bristle.
Yeah, the damage certainly lacking from TNC at this stage of the game in comparison to what you need to have a chance of bringing down a Bristle. Side Tim's playing around with DDC. LFY relatively low. DDC may just get taken down here, in fact. He's going to throw back an Ice Blast. But
this one actually goes up the mark.
He misses the Burrow Strike, and for that, Tim's is paying with his life. The cold feet kicks in. DDC's the one to take the kill.
And they want to keep going.
They're looking for the blind torrent, won't quite get it. Jump forward for Samich with the lasso into the Purifying Flames. They get Arfu in return. But now, Super, he's got a hood complete. This Bristle is going to be a massive issue, especially considering the way that LFY are playing, grouping up as a team, or even just, you know, letting Super enter the fight, hang around for 10 seconds, waiting for the backup. There's just very little chance that TNC can actually kill Super at this stage of the game.
They're trying to make, they're trying to fight and make space as much as possible for Raven. He is getting closer and closer toward that Radiance, 3,400 gold. So that's going to help a bit, but he's still very squishy and they're still very susceptible to the team fight of LFY.
Seeing the build as well from Cuckoo this game is the he's going phase straight into the Solar Crest rush.
That's the build we saw Matu doing, just kind of the sheer damage that you can do with the Spiderlings. You can not only increase your farm rate, it gives you mana regen, it's just a really good item choice.
I mean, absolutely, if he gets himself on either Arfu or TDC, very little they can just give him a life. I mean, we're going to see him make a bit of a go now. Just ready with the Medallion and the Spiders, putting Arfu down very quickly.
Reluctant to commit though.
Yeah, a little scared about fighting around this tier 1 tower towards the mid lane. At the moment, members of LFY closer towards that top tier 2. Trying to see if they can get the push on there. Monet. The timing is going to be on the Chrono. Yes, back
just
up in 3 seconds. So they want to try and do something with this Faceless Void. As the Mask of Madness, the build from him by the looks of it, going to be straight into the Maelstrom. And then the Lincoln Sphere. They'll go for this here. Pushing in on the top lane. Again, another very tricky hold for TNC to even try and attempt against this Chronosphere. So by the looks of it, they will just let it go. This is scary now. LFY 16 minutes in, really getting some traction, taking these objectives. And TNC not finding towers in return. Definitely the biggest trade-off being the fact they're getting farm.
Oh, they actually...
For the Naga. Yeah, Afu whiffing the combo there. Looks like he went for the blind torrent boat. Didn't quite have the X-Mark back up to make the play in terms of control. But yeah, this is the thing. TNC all in all, the trade is that they are getting this farm on Raven. He has got that relic. He's halfway through the recipe gold. They're going to make an attempt on Super, but I don't know if they get away with this. They're going in with the they cannot kill this man. Backup is there now in the form of Arthur in Flame, and they're just going to look to turn. The dust is out onto Tim's. He's sprouted up. Can't get himself out of this one. He's got the Pyro Strike. Super continue to move forward. A couple of Quill Sprays will do it. No, just the one actually. Super bursts him down.
That's their lasso and their epicenter committal to. That's their big team fight slash pickoff heroes, and they barely even drop him below half-life.
Definitely a mistake for TNC to try and make that play. They can't afford to do that, especially that close to a tier 2 tower.
And making these mistakes is super crucial. Like these mistakes is what costs you the game. Where Nature's Prophet's able to claim a tier 2, the Void is just farming in all the meanwhile. They need to get kills in with those type of double ult committals. Super now, looking for Sam H, actually forces him just to TP out bottom.
Cuckoo again, comes onto Monet.
You see the itemization coming out from LFY.
Monet just goes for them, jumps in. Absolutely no messing around, and with the Ice Blast coming through as well as the big old shark, there's no hope for Cuckoo. And TNC may be losing their cool a little bit here as LFY are getting some very easy pickoffs.
Still only a slight lead for them, but still LFY is looking really strong with their 5-man.
There is that radiance though. So it's all about how much TNC can rely on the core Naga Siren to pull them through this game.
Bottom lane looks like they're going for Sam H here. With the Wrath of Nature, the X play coming out, Sam H is in deep trouble here.
Again, this combo from Arfu.
And it's going to lead into a tower as well.
Maybe even more with Inflame in the neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe they go for 2 here. They could. There is a sleep that is still up though, so maybe they're a little bit afraid of that because they don't have Chrono. But they want to at least threaten a bit, force some reaction.
Link Dagger now picked up by Tims, so they do have that extra potential to jump in and maybe even jump around Super, get to the back lines. The Super at the moment is not the target you want to be going on.
Well, look how far back they are. They're already prepared. The Illusion is kind of scouting out the AA, so they're trying to commit here for it. Maybe they can force all the TPs and try to isolate Super, but no, it's getting too far away at this point now. So yeah, look how the 3 cores on the side of LFY, they're all itemizing toward being these late game kind of carry heroes. We see Nature's Prophet went for the Shadow Blade, going for the Orchid. We see the Void, we already mentioned that one. Mask of Madness into Linken's Maelstrom. He's the 1 Void, of course. And then we see Super. Got the Radiance queued up. That's going to be the big one to kind of match.
Top lane, they do manage to find one, and they have the epicenter on the lasso, but he's still going to get the chance to
he's fine. That's twice now, the lasso on epicenter.
It's not enough to take down TNC's cores. It really isn't.
Or LFY's, yeah.
It's going to be spotted out. They've got the X-Mark trap back. Actually,
doesn't miss.
Off with the timing there. Not quite there with the combo this time around, Arfu, and that is going to mean that Cuckoo gets away with his life intact. Did have 1437 in the neighborhood, so maybe even if they got the trap, he would have been there with a false promise save, but still.
Rare mistakes coming out from both Afu and from Tims this game.
How's Super doing towards his relic? Very close.
Very close.
Very close to having that done on this Bristle as well.
3k gold lead now going their way.
Definitely still with the edge of this game, and definitely still the issue being that we're seeing Super and Monet being attempted upon with these ganks, these takedowns, but
unable to get killed. That's pre-Linken's.
Quite do it.
That's pre-Linken's Void, and they can't even bring him down. When he's got Linken's, I don't see how they actually get him unless they've got like 3 or 4 hero committal.
Really is the problem here for TNC. They need time, they need space for Raven.
LFY seems very content with this pace of the game too. They're not trying to like force too much action. Even when Chrono is up, they're not really trying to force anything to happen. They're just like, let it come to us. Let the kills naturally happen when TNC tries to go on the aggressive. Look where Monet's just been perched up. I think he's been up here for the last like 4 minutes just farming these creep waves and this enemy jungle.
I mean, yeah, this is crazy farm for him. 21 minutes, he nearly has that Linken's on top of the Mask of Madness. And as you said, with that as well, How do TNC even think about bringing down this Void?
They spot. They look like they know where Cuckoo is. They actually get the dust on him too. And the Blind Torrent.
Blind Torrent does connect this time round. The poke flying in with the X-Mark bring back. There's no escape for the Spider. LF definitely impressing. Top lane TNC. They are going to try for this. I mean, do they get away with it? I feel it's going to be hard. Yeah, he drops the Chrono.
It actually gets the bat.
It does indeed. It stops the... And I mean, it's enough to hold the back. But Monet turns. He time walked in aggressively there.
The Conquer Torrent actually.
Oh,
they actually get the courier from
as well.
Again, just like last game. So they actually, a cool thing that LFY did is, you know, they're playing versus a Broodmother, so they actually defensively warded their high ground. I didn't really notice that one too.
I mean, look at this. Monet is just forcing this three-man gank that came in for him all the way back to their base.
No fear.
Even without Chrono, just time walking towards them, terrifying TNC.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Radiant's pretty much there for Super. 300 gold, and he has it. A lot of catching up that TNC needs to do. Raven nearly has the bots, but...
How do they kill this Bristle? How do they kill the Void? Both these two guys are super durable now, and they have the exact things that they need to deal with TNC's aggression. And with that Radiance, that's going to be their timing. Maybe they can just go into the Roche pit with that LFY. With the Chronosphere once it's back up.
TNC are trying to make a move again towards this mid lane. Inflame has a double damage as well. Just a few seconds left on it though. Doesn't look like he will get the chance to make use of it. TNC not quite jumping in. And Inflame up top. Wow, sees Raven. Raven looks to get himself out of the tree line.
Damage with the instant TP and the sleep coming out.
I'm going to look to try and punish Inflame.
Do they ever reveal though? He's got a Shadow Blade. I don't think they ever reveal. He's gone.
Oh dear, oh dear. LFY.
But they seem to kind of know he's here. Okay, good. Gets the TP out. Bit scary, but
this
not having dust, not having anyone, not having either of those heroes with the reveal picked up there.
Not feeling awesome. Like the TNC that we saw in game 1.
No, definitely not. And he's had the Shadow Blade for quite a long time, so.
Maybe it's the draft, maybe it's just the flow of the game. I mean, LFY themselves, this decision to have Super on the Bristle has definitely worked out massively. Monet up top.
They know Raven's got no sleep top too.
Get this thrown there with the Sprout cut down. That should buy time for Monet to close the gap, and indeed drops the Chrono. Ice Blast coming in. They do have a false promise. Do they have the heal to offset it though? He's still going to have that debuff on him, so he can't quite heal all the way up. We'll see if he pops. I think he may be saved, yeah, with a Fate's Edict blocking the magic damage. Raven will be kept alive. So they do manage to protect their Naga, which is, you know, TNC have to do everything in their power to make sure that Raven doesn't get bullied now, as he really is their only hope of having this strong core that can take them to the later portions of the game.
Looking for the Torrent again. He gets the dust off now, and Kuko looks to be in a lot of trouble.
The X-Mark into the boat. LFY, Monet, Super, Inflame surrounding the Spider, taking another down. 5k gold lead now for LFY.
TNC are smoked up. They were looking to try to get on the aggressive play here instantly when the Chrono was down, but just slightly too late. They're trying to position now around Raven, but in goes LFY into that Roche pit, and there is no way that TNC can contest this one. They are drawing the lines though, but it's going to die way too fast.
It's a completed Orchid on Inflame as well, and indeed the Roshan's going to be gone. LFY claim the Aegis into the hands of Super. I mean, we've already seen how they struggle to kill him once. Killing him twice, definitely an impossible affair that TNC are going to be forced to try and tackle somehow once LFY start pushing down the lanes.
LFY plays super well around the Nature's Prophet. Just the way that he split pushes and always helps them like take fights on their own accord. It's amazing. Like they always have two lanes pretty much pushed in, even though TNC does have good ways to kind of react for it. They have good heroes to kind of force the lanes out with the Naga and with the Sanking, but every time Sanking shows, they know that the gank's not happening, and then Inflame just goes back top and continues that push up. So it's really hard for TNC to find those opportunities. And also, they can't group up either because of the nature of their lineup. They have a Broodmother, they have a Naga Siren. They can't team fight versus LFY. They need to find number advantages in those instances.
Now making this long smoke movement up towards the top lane, trying to catch off Inflame. So if they get away with this, I mean, he's still got the Shadow Blade. Of course, to still TP his way out. They are getting close. Inflame is sticking around.
They have
got the reveal this time indeed. Jump forward with the dust, lasso. They'll hold him back. That's a very, very much needed kill here for TNC as they finally catch out the Nature's Prophet.
Heavy committal though. They commit 3 heroes up there with the smoke, and in the meanwhile, Bristleback's farming bottom, Void's farming mid, and speaking of which, LFY are also smoked up, looking for a play. We do have the Aether Lens as well picked up on Afu, so he does have that extra cast range for his spells. So he can cast the Torrent and the X. The Torrent you can actually cancel majority of the...
Oh, Cuckoo, he is going to walk into the 3 of them there. He does do have the detection if they dust him up, and with the freeze connect, they will come with the Burrow Strike, but indeed the Lincoln Sphere blocking the Burrow Strike. Monet will survive and still be able to get the kill. Now
lose a second.
Tim's safe there, just in time by the false promise. 1437 trying to allow Tim's to get out of there, but 1437 will pay with his life. Tim's up to the high ground with the Burrow Strike.
Oh, 20 HP!
Survive.
Can't believe he survived there.
1437 making some very big plays. They do still have Chrono on Monet though. This is LFY killing 2, forcing these ultimates out, and still having potential to move in for more. Straight down to the bottom lane, they'll play in the tier 2.
He held the chrono, that's the important thing, the whole time. When they did have it.
Still got it. See if they find a chance to use it. I mean, still not too many reasons for LFY to hold back too much with this sort of pace that they're saying. Even still working his way towards the Manta style. I mean, all things said, you know, considering the pressure that LFY put on, Raven's still doing a great job in terms of finding the farm. You know, it's up there, we're pretty much on par with the cause, other than Super, who really is starting to break ahead, of course, with his own radiance. But Raven, he's not getting totally shut down.
No. The thing is that ideally when you're playing like this, they actually are able to find 1437 out of the base.
If there's any saving him, Monet's there. If anyone comes in with backup, he's got the chrono to spare. He doesn't need it yet again. Just finding these pickoffs.
Such far range for them to find that catch with that Aether Lens Kunkka.
Still with that Aegis, they very well maybe looking to go Tiger Run again. Another catch from Afu. X-Mark onto Sam. Just managed to force himself away from the Ice Blast.
Super doesn't care.
Diving indeed.
And the chrono.
Drops the chrono onto Raven. They've caught the Naga. Burrow Strike comes in from Tim's. Trying to hold them back, but Raven's down for 50 seconds. Diving indeed. Raven will buy back, but TNC losing hero after hero. Cuckoo comes in with his BKB. Trying to see if he can bring anyone down in return. 1437 is on his way back, but they're sticking around. They are getting rather low, Afu and Super. Afu turns straight towards the Oracle, cuts him down with his blade. Sleeps there from Raven. But of course, Super still has that Aegis. He may be low, but there's, by the looks of it, no chance they can even kill him down once. Cuckoo's just turned up.
That might just be it here.
TNC losing 4, none of them with buyback available. We'll see if they hold on here for one more attempt. They are fairly short death timers.
They're just too incredibly durable, and the catch range from Afu is just way too far. They're able to chase always, and with this frontline Bristleback, he just doesn't care because he has the lifesteal as well as Radiance, Hood, Vanguard. They're able to siege. First racks down, going for the secondary one. 30 seconds until Broodmother.
Oh, look at this. Afu goes back to base. It's the Mango delivery service he's picked up to. Has he got them still in his stash? I definitely saw him.
He just used them. He used them right away to be.
Oh, he used them himself. Okay, no mangoes for anyone else. Just for him. But yeah, keeping himself topped up immediately, making sure they can stick around to finish the game. Ice Blast looking to connect onto Raven. False promise a little early, but just to make sure they can save it. Tim's jumps in with the MP. They do have the control of the ball. They bring Monet down.
Monet.
That's a big kill, but Tim's will pay with his life. Cuckoo's now back up. Samage trying to find DDC, but DDC has the hood. He can't even kill the AA. They will disarm the Bristle, but the Quill Spray stats continue to build up. They have managed to find AA. Cuckoo manning up towards Inflame. Doesn't quite get him as Inflame goes for the BKB TP out, turning his attention now towards Afu. With the Solar Crest, they do have enough damage to find the Kunkka. So TNC do get killed, but again, it's costing them so much. They lose 3 heroes themselves. They keep the bottom melee racks alive.
Naga dieback.
Yep.
But they do keep them, at least they keep the melee racks alive, but
they're still in the game, but only just. And it really is, you know, LFY definitely with a sensation that they have to just rinse and repeat that push once more and go for it.
Yeah, TNC are in the game, but by most means are quite out of it. They can try to still keep on taking the fights, try to push these 2 side lanes out, but that five man, when LFY groups up and starts that ball up, it's just no way for TNC to really respond when all their ultimates are up. Monet now, Chronosphere is going to be up when he's alive. And that was everything. That was like the perfect scenario for TNC to get that jump. It's like Monet was like a little bit low on life, they break the Lincolns, and then they get the lasso epicenter, perfect follow-up with Cuckoo in the back lines. So it's like perfect case scenarios. Now they're able to claim, LFY able to claim some shrines, reset themselves, continue that aggression.
Oh, and Cuckoo is being hunted. Do they have the catch to get him? Dust is out upon him. He does have the BKB, will pop it straight away. no messing. Knows that he can't afford to be caught out outside the base as he'll head his way back up to the high ground. Same time up top, they've actually found Inflame, but he's immediately BKB's, TP's out.
And that was the lasso committal.
Now Samh could be in trouble. They look for the blind torrent. Samh will be able to force himself back to safety, and with the blink just out of range of the Shiva's guard, will get himself back home. Obviously keeping everyone alive. Yeah, they're quite definitely ready to go down mid. They themselves with all the ultimates that they require. Chronosphere, Ice Blast, Nature's Wrath.
You see Tims and Raven are just desperate to push out those side lanes as far as possible.
Look at the super is just forcing them back to the base. Raven going for the TP back to join the rest of them. Arfu is sort of spotted out here by Kuku on the side of it, but he's got to be careful. BKB not quite ready again for him. Has the spotters upon him, but LFY take the second melee Rex down on this bottom lane. And they're jumping forward. Chrono at the ready. They'll look for the courier. They do get it. No, they don't. The courier's
alive.
Oh, the courier lives. Mono comes in with a chrono onto Kuku. Kuku is saved just in time by 1437 with a false promise. They have the song trying to get the spider out of there. It will work for now, but it looks like 1437 is going to pay off his life. He has the Glimmer Cape, but Super's got the vision with the sentry down on the floor. Moves in, takes down the Oracle. TNC being forced back. Raven trying to hold Super away from TNC. They get the connection. Torrents there onto Tim, sanking down as well. 2 down without buyback once again on TNC.
They're going for that last Rex now.
They can get DDC. Kuku turning towards him. Solo press down. Imposter BKB really wanted this AA kill. Will get it. It is 1 down, but at the same time, Raven going for the TP out. He's actually going to make it back to base by the looks of it. They've got the lasso onto the Kuku, but the damage is too much from Super. The coil spray is building up. Kuku down as well. GG is cool. And looks like LFY were only warming up in game 1. Game 2, a very, very convincing victory there for the side of LGD Forever Young. 28-15, 33 minutes in 22k net worth lead. And with the draft and the start to this game that TNC had, there never really was any hope of them bringing it back.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. LFY had just a super strong draft to deal with what TNC had. We've seen Naga carry a few times. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. It's definitely a little bit on the weaker side. You have to have a lot of way to make space for it. They also picked the Oracle a bit early without like some direct counter. It was great versus the Kunkka, but that was kind of it. The Chronosphere just was way too much of a problem. And Inflame on the Nature's Prophet.
Absolutely.
I think this is something you guys have to start banning versus these guys.
It really has got to be thought about in the first phase of drafting. It really does seem. And Super as well. Turning up, and this is a guy that everyone says, oh, he plays Dragon Knight, plays Death Prophet. Turning up, game 1, pulls out an incredible puck performance. Gets the bristle back, and again blows us away. Absolutely star-studded game for them all.
I just love how well they work with the Wrath of Nature. That's the big thing for me. It's like as soon as he hits level 6, they're always just already running at somebody, making that aggression happen. They always get like 1 or 2 kills as soon as Furion hits 6. So I would say that hero might be one of the ones to look out for LFY for future teams that are playing against them.
Absolutely. LFY able to therefore continue their run here in the upper bracket. TNC knocked down to the lower. Game 1, TNC certainly gave it their all, but yeah, game 2, definitely the LFY that we sort of expected to turn up off the back of the performances here at the group stages. This TI7 smiles all around. They'll be prepared to move on for more.
I mean, TNC had a great first game, so that's the one thing. They can't look at this and be like, man, we played really poorly. That's not the truth at all. They had an incredibly good start, and this one was just really difficult for them to do. So they tried their hardest, but yeah, LFY just 1 step ahead for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to head back to apparently a bit of a change-up. We've apparently got Machine on the panel, so we'll head back to you, Alex.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, Owen. I'm hanging out here. They've taken me into the sun, and I have an opportunity to talk to some experts. In fact, I'm joined by a fresh face as well. Not only me, we have Misery joining us, alongside, of course, Ake and PPD. Guys, we get to be outside and we're video gamers. How are you feeling about this, Pierre?
It's super nice out in Seattle right now. I'm happy to be outside finally.
It's lovely. There's there's a beautiful fountain. People are playing. We've got the game behind us. Fans get to kind of top up on their tan. And I heard that you have been topping up on your tan as well, actually. Word on the street, has you been a bit of a party animal? What have you been up to? I saw pictures.
I just got in from Ibiza, actually, yesterday.
Why are you calling it Ibiza?
Ibiza.
Ibiza? Is it just the UK that does that?
Yeah, it's just the UK.
Okay,
that does that.
Okay.
Okay, I thought I pronounced the Z wrong, but no, it was like the whole.
Okay, what about Sweden? Do you have my back? Ibiza?
I was going to say Ibiza, but
okay.
I'm not the best at English, so apparently I said melee instead of No, I said melee instead of melee.
Oh God,
Or, I don't know
people
which
get
one it
upset
was.
about the most ridiculous things. I am, however,
I'm
not upset about
very
that.
sorry about that. Very sorry.
Dude, I respect the bow tie. I respect it a lot. But we have got some Dota to talk about as well. Now, of course, LFY have taken the win and have kind of replicated the success that they had coming into the group stage. Now, Misery, how much of that group stage did you catch? I imagine you kind of just caught the tail end of it.
I started watching a bit, yeah. Like, I mean, I didn't catch all the games, of course, but I followed through. Anyways.
TNC are going to be falling into that lower bracket now, okay? I mean, this was kind of the expectations you set in that pre-match with Shaw.
For sure. And now we're going to get the OG versus TNC game.
I was trying to avoid it just for a moment, but I guess it's kind of is going to be the direct storyline from this, right, Peter?
I mean, that's what TI is all about, making storylines and us, you know, hyping them up and making them interesting for everybody to watch.
So I think just before we do investigate that, because it is a wonderful story to tell, I think the question has to be simply, TNC going to the lower bracket, was it in the way in which you expected? Was there more resistance than perhaps anticipated, or was that just another day in the office for LFY?
I think 1437, like I was saying on the panel earlier, very clever, very smart drafter. He came into this series with some strategies in mind. Game 2 was a little weird for me, but Game 1 I really loved that last pick. Alchemist almost caught them off guard. However, like I've been saying, LFY is the team to beat at this tournament. I think they are fantastic, and I think they've got a really bright tournament ahead of them.
Okay, I mean, now, I'm interested. LFY, we've heard from Jack himself saying the Chinese scene underestimated them. We've heard from the panelists, you guys perhaps weren't expecting it. Even in the group stage, their result was unexpected. What about, you know, I mean, have you had a chance to play against this team in this form?
I didn't play against LFY. I played against Newbie quite recently, and I was surprised how patient they were. Like, we were up all 3 games, quite by like 10k gold or something like that, and they just stuck in their base, and they just, you know, eventually smoked on us and killed us. Kind of like we saw yesterday when they beat EG. It was very similar, and I don't think you're used to playing against such a patient team. It does catch you off guard.
Okay. Is that a word that you would use, Ake, patient, to summarize LFY as well as Newbie?
I think that goes for most of the teams from China. They are very patient and very hard to play against because, as Mr. said, even though you're up like 10k or even 20k, you never know if you actually won the game. They can do something crazy, like go around in smoke or just, I don't know.
We saw that one game that was like that 2-hour game with Empire and another Chinese
128
team.
minutes,
And it was actually whoever decided to push first was going to lose, and China was like, we'll do this all day. I'm just going to stay in the base. Empire pushed, they lost.
Yeah. Brutal. And I mean, we should stop talking about patience because poor Kevin has been waiting. I've got an urge for Purge. Let's check in with him to get a bit of a deeper breakdown.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope it's nice in the sun. Still inside over here, unfortunately, but we can talk a little bit about the last game, just some things to touch on. The Broodmother last pick was a bit of a nice change-up. Really lacking on AoE on LFY's side. They're basically limited until they had Kunkka, especially with his ultimate, and as well as Super here with the Bristleback. So I took a little bit of a look into the laning stage just to see if TNC got full value out of the Brood. And LFY played it really effectively. They laned initially as Prophet against the Broodmother, which is really effective because you have so many physical damage dealers. And it isn't until a couple levels later when Brood actually has more points in his Spawn Spiderling skill that he can actually lane effectively. And at that point, they pretty much rotated the lanes. So the reason that you saw this sort of migrating Broodmother throughout the game is because every time that the Bristleback would come to match up against him, he doesn't want that matchup. He would be forced to go somewhere else, and it hurts his efficiency a little bit. And in the meantime, LFY is still farming all over the place. And in fact, if you take a little look down here, we can actually see the Bristleback rotating over just on time. The Prophet leaves the lane, goes to gank somewhere else, and then that basically forces the Brood to rotate. And he did get some good things done. They had a lot of webs in the mid lane. He got a couple kills. He ended up 3-1. And that was really good for the scope of the game. But we didn't feel like a really huge, overwhelming pressure. I mean, this is 17 minutes in, and he's just taken the tier 1 tower mid. And didn't really have a lot of success in the other lanes, other than making it hard for him to farm like this. Faces Void has to leave the lane. Can't just sit here and get last hits until his allies come. But really what we just kind of saw was every team fight was just so hard for TNC to win. They didn't quite get the Nagasaran in the place that they needed for this to go really easily. And almost every time that they actually saw the Broodmother, they just committed a Chronosphere to him to guarantee the kill. And when that's kind of the case for your Broodmother and you die multiple times and there's spiders to kill, you just can't affect the game in a good way, and they ended up losing.
I'm always impressed. Love it. Thank you so much, Kevin, getting to break down some of the intricacies, especially of that Brood. And now, in fact, we are going to go ahead and slink our way somewhere else. Before we continue our discussion, we're going to go ahead from one hero to another. In fact, superhero this time, standing by with Casey.
Congratulations, Super. We're really excited to see you here. That was an exciting, epic first game. So we want to know what it was that, in your mind, was the turning point when you were finally able to get your footing and really win in the end there.
当然是恭喜你们12-0战胜 TNC。那么你们刚才打的第一把就特别的焦灼，打得特别激进。那么你们是如何找到就是胜利的一些细节和如何是转换上你们达成劣势的？优势。
主要是我们第一盘，他们选出来一套我们在我们意料之外的阵容，我们劣势了之后，我们在赛前就说过了，如果我们出现意外，我们就要及时的调整，我们冷静，慢慢的一步一步找机会，千万不能急。
So before the game, they drafted a lineup that was a bit beyond what we predicted, outside of our expectations. So we told each other before the game, like if we get into a situation where we're behind, or we have to come back, just stay calm and don't lose our cool, and and that should be okay.
What kind of conversations did you have after that first game to change your approach? Because the second game felt a lot smoother and more evenly played on your part.
就是你们第一场获胜之后商量了一些什么，做一些什么样的调整？因为你第二场就是明显的就是局势更顺风一些，然后打的也看上去比较轻松一点。
第二场我们打完以后，我们还是先优先想他们有没有会再出一些我们意料之外的阵容。如果他们选出来了以后，我们要更加小心的。想到他们意料之外的，他们的蜘蛛就被我们想到了，所以我们应对的更好。
So after the first game, we said to ourselves, are they going to pull something else out from up their sleeves, something else that's unpredictable? And we actually, one of the things we accounted for was the Broodmother, which they ended up picking, and so we were prepared for it.
You guys dominated in group stage, and some teams have told us that it can be extra difficult to come in with such high pressure and high expectations. How did you interpret coming into main stage, having done so well in the group stage?
那当然，你们小组赛的表现特别亮眼，也特别出色。于很多人来讲，就是进入主舞台时，要是小组赛打得那么好，就会有更多的压力，或者人家会更关注或针对你。那你小组赛的表现对你们有些什么样的一些启发，或者你们是怎么看的？
我们小组赛良好的发挥，其实到了正赛，其实也就跟别人一样，只是在胜制组而已。然后我们会不停的告诉自己，这个淘汰赛才是正式的舞台，才是正式的比赛开始。我们太膨胀了，而且我们最后两天我们输了敲了一个警钟吧。所以我们正赛会把心态放得更平缓一点。
So doing like we did very well, obviously in the group stage, but we want to remind ourselves that it's a brand new situation coming in. Like don't get arrogant, don't get cocky. When we get to the upper bracket, everyone's on this equal footing in the upper bracket, and they're all good teams, and we can't take ourselves too seriously or evaluate ourselves too highly. So we told ourselves that, and this is the real match that begins when we're on the main stage. And then finally, we also dropped 2 matches later on in the group stage, so I think that was a bit of a wake-up call, or just humbled us a little bit and kept us focused and not getting too full of ourselves.
And next up, you'll face VP or LGD, so we wish you the best of luck. Super, thank you so much. Jack, thanks for your help. We appreciate it, and we'll send it back to you guys.
Awesome stuff. Casey and Jack, you guys are phenomenal. Casey just asked this beautiful kind of intricate question, and Jack just does a Chinese monologue for 30 minutes, and we still get to hear stuff we otherwise wouldn't be aware of. So getting to hear more from Super and staying in the upper bracket. I saw a very subtle nod, Peter. I could be over-reading into it, but when he said the real game comes next, I saw a kind of an acknowledgement from you.
I like Super. I've had a lot of experience playing at tournaments with him and against him, and he's had a lot of success at TI, and he's also had a couple of failures along the way, so he knows that this is just the beginning and there's a lot of tournament ahead and a ton of things can still happen.
Absolutely, and one thing that I want to happen actually, Ake, is just to hear your thoughts on the Brood, because we heard from Super that there was something they acknowledged, they were well aware of coming into the game, that was a possibility. Now for someone like me, or perhaps those at home that are unfamiliar, why has that thought crossed their mind? Why are they aware that that's a possibility?
It's just a thing that people can try to pull out here to get an easy win in a way.
Do we call it cheesy? Am I allowed to do that?
It is a... Sorry, what is it?
I don't say anything.
Misery actually used to play Brood. He used to be an offlane player before he transitioned to support. Well, like, what makes a good Brood game? Why did it not work that game?
I mean, I think Brood got changed a lot since I played it. Back then, it was. I think the Broodlings were stronger. Like pretty much all his skills were significantly stronger than they are now. I think it's pretty hard to pull off a Brood mother these days. I think the only one that has been successful with it has been Liquid.
Yep.
Yeah. And they also run it with a lot of fast heroes everywhere, so there's pressure everywhere on the map, and that can easily rotate to the Brood mother and help them out. Whereas this game, it was kind of like 4 farmers, or like Naga farming.
Brood Naga together, maybe just a little too slow.
It doesn't really work out, I think.
They also like had the Kunkka to catch him, and that is like a very long catch and a very easy like setup to kill him, and that really makes the game hard for Brood. We could see him like 3 or 4 times at the same spot, and it was always the Kunkka who caught him.
Yeah, and they used it the 9th pick of the draft on the
just
Brood mother.
Before the Bristle, yeah.
Yeah, and then last pick Bristleback, and we saw in the laning phase they just sent Bristleback to wherever Brood mother was, and you can swap lanes with Brood mother, but you really don't want to. You just kind of want to take over a lane, sit there, start expanding into the jungle, and then eventually, when you're really farmed, you start moving around.
So just to kind of put a final stamp of approval or close this case, as it were, okay, I'll leave the final thoughts with you on this series. As expected, TNC will see more from them, right? Do you still think we can see that maybe that bit more of progress in the lower bracket?
I mean, they're up against OG, so I think it's...
Ake is an OG fanboy.
I am.
Oh, he is?
Their tournament's over for him.
But I would say that I think OG is the team that has the highest skill cap, but the problem for them is that they haven't really been able to perform like at their top all of the games that they played. So it's just up to them if they can find their play style. And
we'll find out. There is so much to be talked about with that game. That will be coming up another day. For now, though, it does sound like our teams are getting ready for our next battle. And so without further ado, it's time to get some players into the key arena. First of all, it will be LGD. LGD Gaming, a name that has seen podium finishes here in the International East in the history books, but no Aegis. And so now they prepare themselves for another battle. Still in the upper bracket, still fighting the good fight. And on the other side of things, it is time to once again introduce Virtus Pro, fan favorites, and representing the CIS. So many personalities, so much skill, and so much to talk about. I mean, this is where I kind of want to give you some degree of freedom here, Misery. Virtus Pro, a team that, you know, everyone says they're playing that CIS Dota, they're in your face, but also they're a team that you really came into this one, came into previous tournaments, you know, Boston perhaps as well, as a team to watch. Would I use the favorite tag to Virtus Pro? Is that a bit too much?
I think generally Virtus Pro kind of took CIS Dota to the next level and wasn't so much like they play aggressive, yes, but they're also very good at maintaining that lead that they get. They're good at team fighting, they're good at farming, they're pretty much good at all facets of the game. Whereas some of the things that CIS have struggled with in the past perhaps is to like continuously like build the lead and then finishing the game. I think yeah, VP, they might be the last hope, like true hope for the upper bracket of the Western Dota.
One of the most stable teams throughout the scene. They've really, the emergence of Solo as a captain in the CIS scene has been impressive to see. He's like very much taken over as that strong leader. He has a very unique perspective on the game. He offers his own unique play style, and the team has had a lot of success. I think people are looking at them as that like Western hope at the current moment. It's all China right now.
No, absolutely. I think Solo is an interesting thought kind of discussion to have as well, just regarding his leadership. We got to see, I think, a little look under the hood in the same way Jack provides insight on China. I feel like that TrueSight gave us a little insight into how Solo leads and how, what's going on under the hood of Virtus Pro. What do you make about, Ake, what do you make about kind of Solo's? Did you catch the episode? Did you see the way in which he delivers that information?
What's a bit... I didn't really think was that they were that calm and nice in a way. They're like, for people that watch them, they think that they are very aggressive and like if something goes wrong during the game, that they can't really get back together. But I think that it's been a couple of years since it was in that phase, so I think they are a calm and collected team, even though they're very aggressive and like to dive towers. It's just their play style.
Absolutely, but I think that we can definitely learn more about Virtus Pro. We actually have an opportunity to do so now. So let's learn more about the boys of Virtus Pro.
Наконец-то мы приехали.
Добрый вечер.
Добрый вечер. Добрый вечер.
Что мы будем у вас тут делать?
Вы будете проходить квест, который называется «Искусственный интеллект».
Все готово? Да. Что, Леха, открывай консоль, пиши там это. Я посерединке. Спасибо. Надеюсь, увидимся.
Ребят, смотрите. Смотрели фильм «Я робот»?
Читаю. Обнаружить и загрузить вирус в центральную систему до того, как MIA проникнет во все системы жизнеобеспечения человечества. Торопитесь, у вас есть всего 1 час. Для начала обратитесь за помощью к личному роботу создателя. Ну...
Руку вставь, руку вставь. О, смотрите, доказали. Смотрите. Тут по 5. Вот тут вот по 5. И в каждом доме по 5. Надо выбрать какой-то дом, наверное, определенный. Ну да. Вот, Илюх, вот это. Давай, поехали. Вот. О, гений! Паша!
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Вот она, получается, то есть она вторая.
Вторая справа.
В самом экране.
Ой, какие у меня умницы!
Ну вот эта штука должна открыться, понимаете? Она откроется, если... Я ее переложил просто сюда, она открылась. Парни, вы что?
А может прям в экран ставить?
Вот это ведь штрих-код. А вот это похоже на сканер штрих-кода.
О, работает. Вот этот рабочий, Лёв. Нормальный. Это, ну смотрите, куда их вставлять. Типа, все, ладно, старый, давай, игра на тебе. На твоем статик штурме.
Ты мне их слева направо даешь, я надеюсь?
Справа налево.
Ну да, на всякий случай просто спросил.
О! Ой! Прикиньте, с чего он средний палец нам показывал.
Так он сейчас пойдет, что-то делает.
Мне кажется, надо было забрать его руку и прислонить его.
Паша говорит, руку можно роботу оторвать.
Станьте проводниками, он правильно сказал.
Как?
Проводниками станьте.
Серьезно?
Я гений!
Что делаете?
Я гений!
Ну я думал о таком.
Го-го-го-го, быстро.
Быстрее.
Так, нет.
Необходимо отключить видеокамеры, как тогда магнитная карта сработает.
Давайте передавай друг другу. Вставляй там, а потом сюда. И быстро карту поставлять.
Ну это надо по очереди. Давайте. Раз, два, три.
Ну быстрее, да, через одну руку можно, через несколько.
О! Серьезно? Да, видеокамера. Надо
Что?
Как же? Надо что-то крутить, старый чудище.
Подожди, не все линии зажглись, тихо.
Ну, вроде да, не все. Не слишком много, что ли?
Открылся.
Вставляй, USB, давай, сюда.
Всего-то за 4,5 часа мы разобрались.
Не получается.
Как не подходит, в смысле?
Вообще нам надо туда сейчас бежать.
То есть там кто-то сейчас будет, ребят, давайте кто-нибудь первый.
Может, он туда пошел?
Да, пойдем.
Мы забыли вам сказать, мы просто гении, понимаете?
Вы пошли в топ-10.
Если бы мы немножко еще послушали, чуть-чуть. Знаете, на капельку. Я надеюсь, Valve использует где-то секунд 17 примерно из этого кое-что, знаешь, самые хайлайты, когда мы, Такие по полчаса просто вырезать обсуждение наши, как мы 2 провода не можем вставить, такие себе. Ой, ладно, спасибо вам большое.
Мы уже можем материться там?
Не, надо еще микрофон.
It's hard not to love them. Virtus Pro with some Blair Witch level type stuff. That's what's going on there. And you can see that Ramsey said himself, Pierre, he's a genius.
That was quite the escape room. I'm trying to picture EG getting through that. I don't think it's possible.
Not seeing it.
Different kind of team.
That was on another level escape room. Mine just usually like a puzzle with, I don't know, a security fence and some handcuffs.
Love how Ramses was just sitting there in the chair doing nothing, just belittling them the entire time.
Yeah, old geezers, I'm a genius. I loved it. And actually Ramses is an interesting discussion because I did just lean towards you, Misery, just to clarify it, but this is his first TI. The youngster. I think so, the young gun.
Definitely his first TI.
I think TI5 he didn't quite get through the qualifier, and this is him on the main stage. And actually, we're gonna have to cut this discussion short because it sounds like they're ready to go. We can go ahead and kick this game off. It's time to see what Virtus Pro can do versus LGD.
LGD versus Virtus Pro. Game 1.
All right, get your thinking caps on. It is time for the draft. A best of 3 between Virtus Pro and LGD Gaming. VP not only representing for themselves, but also battling to try and see what they can do versus the Titans of LGD.
You can see that both teams here did their homework. Virtus Pro is banning the MAG, which 11 has been playing a lot of games, and LGD bans the Darkseer that Pasha has been playing a lot.
It's kind of interesting how Virtus Pro actually used to favor the Magnus like a lot back in Kiev Major, and like in the past a lot, and now they're banning it themselves.
It's worked really well with their team, especially because Ramses is such a draw to these like melee heroes who benefit from cleave. We see him like his best heroes like Ursa,
sure,
and Ursa with Empower can actually keep up and farm and be effective in the late game.
And in regards to just taking that Seer away from VP, is that just, would you describe that as Virtus Pro comfort territory? That's just where they fall back to if things aren't going to plan?
We've seen a lot of Darkseer and Sven from them throughout this tournament. One of the few teams to make Darkseer really work well.
And they actually picked it the first 2 as well, so they're not afraid to just like show what they are going to do, and they can actually make it work as well.
Yeah, they're confident in it. You know, they're not afraid of any counters coming out, or they feel like they can ban effectively around it.
VP is one of the teams that actually, they're not afraid to show their lineup or draft in the like first 2, and they're like one of the teams that seems like they want to have a good lineup themselves more than countering the opponent.
Yeah, we've seen Solo first pick himself a lot of Witch Doctor and Ogre, which aren't really counter picks to any specific heroes generally, just they offer your team things.
Yeah. I mean, Rasmus, is there a balance to be struck with that? You know, drafting for yourself as opposed to deliberately trying to get
I think specifically Virtus Pro is probably one of the most confident teams you can find. I'm very surprised how confident they always seem to be when they're playing majors and like tournaments in general. They always just pick Magnus Troll first 2. They don't really care what you're gonna do. It's more like try and beat us. You know what we're gonna do. Try and beat it now. So yeah, it's definitely something that they don't mind that much.
For those watching, Virtus Pro recently at the Summit picked unique heroes throughout the entire tournament, every single game up until Game 5 of the finals, which then they just picked their favorite heroes and won the tournament. It was I was there casting. It was.
What were the favorite heroes though?
It was like.
Can you remember?
Ursa, Magnus.
And stuff like that, yeah.
So.
Yeah, just. That was the only game that they repeated heroes. They brought out all these old strategies, Shadow Demon Luna, Magnus Empower plus melee heroes.
And still made the run to the finals.
And won the tournament.
We are seeing Crystal Maiden come to play.
That hero's bad.
It really upsets me because all it does is remind me of Slacks now.
She's just really slow. I think she's down to 270 MS.
She has gotten nerfed to the point where it feels almost unplayable. However, I feel if she comes online, she can still make the lineup very fast. Like she does give the aura to all your heroes, and the thing is, she jungles fairly quickly still if you get the right camps. And
it's okay.
And actually, like just this lineup against Lich and Kunkka supports, it can actually work because like none of them are heroes that is gonna go into your jungle and just kill you. Like Lich is gonna stand on a lane and Kunkka is gonna try to gank some like mid or safe lane.
That's true. But whatever lane VP decides to put up against the Lich is really going to struggle. I don't think Crystal Maiden's going to be able to help out at all there. I think her best efforts are going to be in the jungle, getting a quick level 3, probably 2 points in aura, and letting Nightstalker run around and grab as many bounty runes and have mana for constant voids.
Keep your eyes on those two. Now, the Lich hasn't been discussed as much. In fact, we haven't actually got to hear your opinion on this because the International 7 has been plagued by Lich. It's been kind of the hero of the draft, at least in the group stages. What's your take on it? Something you've been playing around with as well?
Yeah, I actually felt like I was one of the only people that appreciated Lich when he was when he was never picked.
Back in the day.
Yeah, like a few months ago even. The hero has definitely become stronger as the game has developed a bit throughout this tournament. It feels like the 5 position doesn't really have that much of a place as much as it used to. Sure. The pull is pretty weak. It's hard to zone the off lane. There's usually a lot of pressure on the safe lane though. I feel like it's this hero has a lot of potential now. He can go to any lane, like Aka mentioned the other day, and you know, he gets his own experience, he gets his own sustain, he can armor towers. I mean,
he always has an impact.
Yeah.
And a lot of other 5 heroes just don't have that, especially in the laning phase.
Right. So getting that additional impact, and whilst you do say that, it does seem like it's quite polarizing when you have a Lich played correctly and incorrectly. Could you shed a little insight, Peter, as to what like Lich's kind of checklist is going to be? I mean, you yourself have said that, you know, stats don't tell you everything. Bad teams can pick the same hero. Lich, I mean, we've seen Cloud9, they tried to draft it. They were one of the few to chase the Chinese with it and could not make it work. What does a bad Lich look like in comparison to a good?
A bad Lich or a good Lich?
Is that a tough question?
It's definitely a tough question.
Just using the abilities in the right way.
Might be more based off the team and how they built around
the opponents, I would say, because the ice armor is what's going to make him good in the late game. So if they're up against a lot of physical damage, now they actually pick Sven against it. So now Lich is actually quite good for them.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of bad Lich games where the Lich moves around a lot and he chooses the wrong lane to be in. It's, you know, you want to set him up against somebody to slow them down. You know, if you're worried about.
He's also an enabler in a sense, right? What do you put with the Lich? There are certain heroes that can be very effective. You put a Centaur with a Lich and give him armor, you know, he's pretty much untouchable there.
You can pick a weaker laner. We've seen Morphlings
exactly
paired up with that Lich.
Doom has been picked with Lich as well a lot. Is also why VP is banning it as well in the second phase there.
You've got VP Sven. We talked about that beforehand, and Beastmaster's going to be coming in from LG.
That could work as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if he gets a couple of levels to level up the boars, then he can be very annoying.
That is very strong for sure. This is a hero that nobody really plays except for LTD, right?
Not often picked into Nightstalker, but if you build a Vlad's first and you become this like 5-man pushing hero, you can almost counter what Nightstalker does for your team.
I actually remember how like OG back in the day doing like in Frankfurt Major and stuff like that, they actually felt that Beastmaster was kind of the counter to Nightstalker because he did give you some kind of vision, right? And you had the boars to push out the lane, you got your book, you can like rat a bit. Nightstalker doesn't like that with summons.
There's a Sven and a CM though to help deal with that Necro book.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can force towers with him as well with his passive aura. It makes the tower pushes.
It's a pretty vague matchup, I think.
So you guys are a fan of the pick?
I think it could work, but it's not something that I would pick for my team.
See what they have planned here, because I think the hero is very versatile overall, and I think it's underappreciated at the moment.
That's looking like a Pasha Omni Knight in the off lane.
Yeah. Could be an aggro tri-lane, perhaps, to counter out the Lich idea, maybe, and then they put the Omni Knight against the Beastmaster or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a tough lane for him, but Omni Knight, you know, with a little bit of sustain from the heal, could potentially manage the harassment from Lich's Frost Nova in the laning phase.
I think they probably don't mind that much putting Omni Knight against just Beastmaster. He's going to be fine there.
He's going to farm at least, though.
But now there's a Troll, which is pretty decent in lane overall, so the aggro tri-lane might not be the best idea.
They are gearing up to group up and push against this Nightstalker, I think. I think that's something that Virtus.pro is lacking a bit, is the team fight. Crystal Maiden offers a little bit, Nightstalker next to none. Sven, he has a hard time getting into fights until he gets a Blink Dagger and a BKB. But even when he does get that BKB, he's still going to be dealing with that roar from Beastmaster.
But surely that's something Virtus.pro would have been aware of. By drafting it first, they knew that that would give the freedom to LGD to build towards that. They knew that was coming.
They knew that Omni-Knight was coming?
Well, no, they knew that the LGD would try and build to counter that Night Stalk. You've been
true.
About.
Yeah, so Virtus Pro trying to get some more team fights so they can actually defend their towers. With an Omni-Knight up.
You got Casey and Slacks now.
They need some kind of powerful mid hero here, right? They need...
Nice.
Yeah.
Casey and Slacks on Virtus Pro here.
Yeah, they're representing. I think Casey pulled off the facial hair better, right?
Slacks is looking a little slim.
He lost all the weight, didn't he?
He's looking good.
He's looking fine. Who could cosplay as Sven? That's the real question. Talent team. I think Peter, you could rock a Sven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's more like a fly, kind of.
Yeah, that's more.
Oh yeah, you're right. Let's get Fly
kind of thing.
A little skinny, I think.
We'll get you down the gym. Give Blitz 6 months. He'll be there as well.
Jeez, Night Stalker's ripped.
It's true.
Yeah, him and his blue buddy Sven. Jim.
There is a recurring blue theme, and we have, as with all the drafts,
that kind of aggression, and I think they they just took advantage of us very well, especially when we picked the Keeper of the Light and the guy that like with the wave, like the wave, the favorite guy, and they just ran over us. And in the third game, we were like, should we do it again? And we wanted to, or at least I wanted to, like show some sort of confidence in our strategy. And we have GH, who's arguably the best player on that particular hero. So we went again for it. They didn't want to get fooled twice the same way, and it worked out.
You're going to be facing either EG or Empire next. How do you think your strengths as a team match up against each of those?
Well, usually I'd say we're very confident playing these teams, but when you get to TI, like pressure can get to you, and it just changes the dynamic of the team. That's what happened to us too, like the day before when we played IG, and it's like you can lose confidence very fast. So I don't know. I think we have a lot of work ahead of us. I think EG will win, probably, but I don't underestimate Empire, especially because of resolution. Either way, it's going to be like a very hard game.
So as captain, how are you keeping your team focused?
I mean, I held some speeches today because we were very down after the loss against IG, and I just tell them some stuff, which I'm not going to say here.
It's private.
Kind of.
I won't make you reveal your secrets here. Crow, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be talking again with you soon.
Okay.
Sean, back to you.
Thanks, Casey. Congratulations once again from everyone here at the panel, Kuroki. I mean, that is a challenge to try to be the captain who is trying to bring the spirits back from a team that just got knocked out of winners, from a team that's down 0-1 to coming back 1-1 and then being down and still managing to win. And one of the things I find really interesting about how the win happened, I think it was you, Pycat, that described the exact thing that we were going to see.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the coddle and the kind of the push/heal strat that they have going for themselves. We've seen it before. I think there was, I can't remember who they were playing, but it was the other day, and they were down quite a lot. And then they kind of just, they do this one time, they go push during daytime, and all of a sudden they take a Rex just because you can't fight versus this continuous coddle heal. Unless you have this AA or something to negate it, it's just so hard. And we saw when they were sieging just how much this coddle with Axe does. This heal, he can give mana to both Necrophos and Witch Doctor and just continuously just heal.
And I mean, let's not forget Legion Commander with the continuous press the attacks. I don't think Rubik ever had a hero lifted for more than half a second before Troll Warlord was right back down on the ground again. I mean, that was some extraordinary focus from Legion Commander.
Yeah, Mind Control played very well that game.
Yes, enthusiasm from our live audience here. It's always great at the end of the matches when everyone comes out from the auditorium. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our panel. The best panel ever. You know, I want to ask Tomato, after the big Roche fight that you mentioned where the tides turned and it really felt like there was big momentum in favor of Team Liquid, what do you think that it was Team Secret would have needed to do to pull out a win there?
I think it was pretty hard because like they had no answer to the main strat from Liquid. Like Pycat said, they had like 3 healers, and that's a pretty easy lineup to snowball with. They just like push every tower, and like Queen of Pain use ult, and they just like heal for 1 second, and then nothing happened. It's insane.
It was almost as though Queen of Pain wasn't even in the fight anymore.
Yeah.
It was just an absolutely insane amount of healing. Like there's been so much talk about GH's Coddle play. I mean, Merlin, is this the sort of game that you think is archetypical of why people always want to ban Coddle?
Exactly. And even IG, they played against Liquid. They were
10,000 gold behind. Liquid were 10,000 gold behind, and they still managed to break a T3.
God, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the game I was talking about. Right?
It was insane. We really haven't seen that. Usually, like, if it's close to net worth, you're like pretty risky. But if you're 10,000 gold behind, you usually don't even consider pushing high ground. But they know the strength of the hero, and everything is just amplified too when you have these things like Ghost Shroud, which amplify the healing, and there's just so much heal.
So marvelous to see how that entire team worked as a unit. It really was a complete package there, working together with no real specific standout to permit the push to happen.
Yeah, I think the level of execution, though, that the problem is for Secret is that they need a very high level of execution. They're their heroes. They need to be played almost perfectly. They need to have this Prophet ult flying in at the same time as Quap ult comes in, with the Spirit Breaker charging in at the same time, and with the Rubik. And they only have one go at that because of their cooldowns. Whereas Liquid, they can just continuously keep going, and it's not that hard. You know, you use this blast. I mean, it is the micro.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard, I say, but don't get me wrong. The micro itself, it's not as difficult as what Secret has to pull off. But the macro that goes into it, and kind of the understanding of the game, and kind of how you have to play as a team, there's a lot that comes into that. And that's also why I think that Liquid are so successful with like this Coddle. And of course, GH knows how to play it very well.
Looking forward, we've seen Team Liquid have some drafts that felt, I don't know, questionable at best, low on stuns, mind control on Bristleback, and not really getting the farm or the impact that we really want to see out of him. These last two games, Team Liquid really seemed to pull together and play as a unit. Do you think that's because of a shift in drafting strategies, or do you think that they're just executing the same type of strategies much better?
I think when they play around their 5-player GH, they win the game, basically. Like the Io and the Coddles, like too strong. I've played against them personally, and wow, it's just like another level. And when they leave Miracle alone, like I've seen it, he plays Puck and then he gets ganked like 5 times, and they don't help him. They don't have the resources to help him. And I think that's when Liquid struggles, when Miracle has a tough game.
Well, Team Liquid really impressed us all with that last match. And of course, Team Secret, unfortunately, going home, but of course, a big fan favorite as well. Let's head down to Casey to talk to Puppy and Keizu after that bitter loss.
Yes, thank you very much. I am joined by two faces of Team Secret. I can totally hear myself. Let's work with this. I have the beautiful Puppy. I have Keizu. It could be difficult for us to talk, but we'll speak nice and slowly. Puppy, I don't need to tell anyone, you know, that this doesn't feel good. I don't think I'm going to patronize you by asking how you're feeling. Instead, I'm just going to ask, you have a platform now, you have a voice to your fans, to those that watch, to, you know, everyone in the community. How would you like to use that time?
Well, thank you for supporting us, because we really tried hard. Like, we really tried. We've been on the road. Thank you. We've been on the road for a while, and you know, when being on the road for a month with everybody, there's going to be stressful moments, arguments, or whatever, whatnot. We felt really good. We almost did it, I think, and we really needed a little bit to win this match, and we don't know what would have happened further, but thank you for supporting.
The key arena for Puppy. Hard work indeed. I'm joined by Keizu as well, hopefully getting a couple of words. Just hearing Puppy say those things, does that kind of resonate with you? There has been hard work, and I mean, there has been, to an extent, some reward.
Yeah, I think everything he said makes perfect sense. We were very close to doing it. We felt good ourselves in the game, before the game. I don't think we feel too bad now. We tried our best. We were so close to doing it, but sadly it didn't work out.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Puppy and Keizu of Team Secret.
Team Secret has so much respect from the entire community. Thank you, Machine, a.k.a. Casey sometimes. Now, one of the things that, you know, I just want to come back to is how impressed I am at these teams, these players who go through such difficult losses and are still able to remain so composed. Is this just the attitude of the competitors? Is this his experience coming into play?
I mean, talk to this guy. This guy, you have like the best attitude of anyone I've seen.
Yeah, hit me with it, Tomato.
Like, I think any player, like, their main objective, like, goal as a player is just, like, to perform. Like, if you're satisfied with what you played, even if you win or lose, you're happy about it. Like,
yeah.
They know they played a nice game. They almost won. Like, Team Liquid and Team Secret, they're like super even. Like, anyone could have won the game.
Yeah,
so like, they're happy about it.
I mean, you make it sound so simple, but there's a lot of people that are older than you, and they still don't have the same mentality. When I was your age, I was just way more hot-headed, and you seem so level-headed and cool, and you're playing for much higher stakes than many people are.
Yeah, I practically felt more stressed out than anyone it seemed like playing in the match. That game was intense. And at this point, this is the current bracket standing at TI7. We see up in the top bracket, in the winner's bracket, IG, Newbie, LFY, and VP, currently guaranteed top 6. Team Liquid has advanced forward. They're in top 8 position. And our last upcoming match, the last match of the day, is going to be EG versus Empire. You guys excited?
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Well, I have to do an extra special interruption. In fact, I only just recently found out I was going to get the chance to do this. I have a special announcement to make. Now, it's not Half-Life 3, for what it's worth. It's not a new hero. But Valve has a new game coming soon. You're not giving me the appropriate reaction that deserves. Thank you. This is not an extra game mode. This is not even a game like CSGO that's based on Counter-Strike or Dota 2 that was based on Dota 1. This is a game that is an entirely new beast unto its own. Let's take a look at a teaser for Valve's upcoming new game, Artifact. Now, you might not have seen the game, but I've actually gotten the chance to play the game. And if you've played previous trading card games, it has a lot of similarities in terms of having creatures and spells that you cast onto the board. But in this game, anything you see in Dota, it's here. There's not just one board, but 3 boards. You control 5 heroes, deploy them among the different lanes, creep spawn every turn. The heroes that you play in Dota, they're in the game. You can play as Bounty Hunter and cast track on an enemy hero. Killing it gives you extra gold. Use the gold to buy item cards, equip them to your heroes. And I gotta say, it's a really cool experience because you really feel like the commander who's allocating all their various resources among this entire huge battlefield, moving from lane to lane. I don't know if you guys have any questions to ask. Valve basically told me, we're going to run the teaser. Sean, feel free to say whatever you want. So at this point, I'll say whatever I want. What do you guys want to know?
I mean, I think this sounds amazing as a whole, just because I think there's so many people that like Dota, but they don't have time to play Dota, or they get frustrated, or they don't have any friends that play Dota with them because everyone else is doing everything else, or they only watch tournaments. And I think this is a great outlet for them to enjoy Dota without dealing with the stress that comes with playing with Dota.
I will say it's a very different experience than playing Dota, of course. I mean, there's all these mechanics of like last hitting, timing, real time, all that sort of aspects. But I mean, in this game, there's a lot of really interesting cards and behaviors. Like there's these improvement cards where you can actually cast spells on the varying lanes, and they continue to upkeep every single turn. So you can wind up, like I played a game where I was honestly getting my ass kicked in 2 of the lanes, but I just kept building more barracks in the 3rd, flooding my opponent with creeps. And it's really nice because often card games can be very complex, and if you've played any Dota, virtually any question you would have about how the game works, there's a very clean and clear reference to Dota 2. And with that, I'm literally not going to talk about the card game for the rest of the tournament. Oh, I'm such a tease. Because we got one more match coming up. It is going to be Evil Geniuses versus Empire. This is a match I know a lot of people were extremely hyped about. And we're going to go into Evil Geniuses introduction right now. a crowd favorite, a TI favorite to many. Although they had amazing performances in group stages, they could not translate their strategies to effectively execute in the winner's bracket, going 0-2 to Newbie in games where a lot of times their strategies seem to fall apart. And against them, they will be going up against a team that has a stand-in that commands the respect of virtually all the players here, Resolution. Let's see how they will fare against EG. Please join me in welcoming Team Empire. Got to be a real treat for Resolution, who he was actually going to work here in production.
He was going to be, yeah, he was going to be a talent.
Yeah.
Now he's
still a talent.
Top 8, man.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, he is a talent for sure.
He's a standout, not a stand-in.
Yeah.
That guy is ridiculously good.
And you know, I mean, how many days have they even gotten the chance to play together at this point? Has it been?
Well, he used to be on Empire a really long time ago.
Completely different roster.
I think he
None
plays
players.
like in that scene a lot though. So I think he plays with those players. No, not at all.
No stretch.
I mean,
come on, give us a little ground.
Last year he's been playing with like DC, Predator, whatever you want to call it. So he's been away from there for quite a while. And even before, when he was playing there, he was playing with a little bit of like some different players, right? I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's actually played with these guys before. I mean, I know that they're friends and everything, and they talk probably at events, but I'm not so sure that they've had a lot of time. And we can see even Rezo was saying earlier in one of the interviews that they don't even have the time to kind of work on everything, to kind of play that much like a team. We saw when he played that Void yesterday, was it, when he said, you know, it's like,
yeah,
I want that one hero where I can just carry the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a big amount of pressure on Resolution. He has to be able to pull his weight, not just as a carry, but of course as a player stepping in very recently into Team Empire. On the flip side is Team EG, and before this event, we got the chance to catch up with one of the most infamous players on Evil Genius's universe.
The very first time I heard about this $1 million tournament, first we weren't sure whether it was a scam or like, I don't think anyone really thought that it would be like an actual job. I just took a backseat and was a coach for that first one. The only tournament I'd played in before that was DreamHack. So TI was a bit different. They put us in like a pretty nice hotel in Germany, and there were 15 other teams there, so it was a bit surreal at the time. I was the 6th man at TI1. We beat MUFC, and then when we played Moscow 5, at that point I think most of the players were pretty much burnt out, so it was a rough tournament. Even after the loss, we got about 25 grand. I felt like you could make a lot of money off this. My mindset was that I wanted to make it to TI2 as a player in any way possible. And then once I joined EG, I was just trying to learn how to work well with the team and do as well as I could. For TI2, we had the home crowd cheering for us. Things got a lot more serious between TI1 and TI2. The stadium was bigger, there was more fans. We played at IG. We ended up losing a game 3 that was pretty heartbreaking. I don't think we dealt with the loss in a great way. Shortly after TI2, I left the team. I wanted to come back next year and do better. After TI2, I took a break from competitive for a while, and then eventually I got asked to join Dignitas. TI3 was probably the lowest point in my Dota career. I didn't feel like I gave it my best effort around TI3. My parents at the time were very upset with what I was doing, and during that time, EG had bought a team house, so I was able to move out of my parents' house and live here, so that was a big motivator for me. At TI4, we got second in groups, so we were guaranteed $100,000 each. All of us were pretty excited because I don't think any of us had ever made that much money before in anything. The fans at TI4, it was a huge jump up from the first 3 TIs. DK versus EG, we were like 2 of the best teams at the time. In the second game I had a good Faceless Void game. That was the first time that I really felt the high of being like on a huge stage. I hit some pretty cool chronos. I heard the crowd like roar. That was a pretty big defining moment. I feel like I've always been like chasing that moment ever since. It was a pretty close game, and then the third game we lost in like pretty spectacular fashion in like 15 minutes. It was a tough loss for us, but at the same time, third place, it's not too bad. TI5 was probably the TI that I worked the hardest at. I think it was part the prize pool and it was part what happened in the year before. TI5 was a lot more organized. There was individual practice rooms for everybody, and I felt like it was the perfect event. We ended up losing to CDEC. It was a pretty crushing loss, and we were very keen on just brushing that loss off. I think we played 4 games against them and played very well in the finals. I hit a couple blind hooks and that one moment on Earthshaker that people remember. When I made that play, like the crowd was insane. I could feel the vibration of the crowd. It's a crazy rush. Ever since TI4, I felt like I'd been chasing that feeling, and then at TI5, I feel like I finally found it again. I felt like I finally achieved like exactly what I set out to do ever since I started playing. It was the first time my whole family went. They were just like blown away. After TI5, I think they just completely stopped worrying about what I'm going to do next. When I joined Team Secret, at the beginning it seemed like a good decision. But then after a couple tournaments, it was pretty clear that it just wasn't working out. EG asked me if I wanted to come back and play, so I decided I had a better shot of doing well at TI with EG than I did with Secret, so I went back to EG. We got the TI6, and since we were the returning champs, we got solo rooms this time around. We had a couple great matches. I played Void again, and we had some nice chronos. And then we ended up losing to DC in the lower bracket. We ended up getting 3rd place at the entire event. If 7 years ago someone told me that I would have been invited to all the TIs, I guess I probably wouldn't have believed it, you know. The biggest thing that's changed between TI1 and TI6 is the level of commitment from the players. The prize pool has gone up in a big way, and being a player is a definite career option. The thing that stayed the same for me is the passion of the fans has always been there. I would say right now the International is very important to Dota. Basically the entire year is just revolving around TI. All the TI experiences I've had have made me a better person in some way or another. Constantly being around teammates in stressful environments and having to work through personal conflicts, I think it helps anybody grow as a person.
Universe, one of the most respected and consistent players in the history of Dota. Always a pleasure to watch his incredible teamfight-focused heroes, of course, Enigma, but Faceless Void too. Will Evil Geniuses be able to make another run at top 3, or will Empire stop them in their tracks? It's time for Game 1 of EG versus Empire.
Evil Geniuses versus Team Empire. Game 1.
Team Empire snatching Earthshaker right out the gate, and EG answering almost immediately with Sand King and Mirana.
This is like Dota from, I don't know, 8 years ago? Isn't this what people were picking back then? I feel like this is Dota. This is like Dota.
Hi,
Dota.
Kat. Tell me the stories of ancient Dota.
Dota 1, I mean, this is all people played. You know, it was like Sand King, Potom, Shaker, and then probably some Lina or Lesh.
Lina, Lesh, Sven.
Yeah. I mean, at one point you could, like Blink Dagger wouldn't get disabled, right? And so all the heroes that have Blink, you could just Blink out of stuff. Shaker AA, that seems reminiscent of some TI5 days, but that's supposed to be EG though.
Tomato, can you give us a brief summary of EG's playstyle? You play with a lot of these guys in pubs and against them?
I've streamed against them. They play some high-level Dota. I think like they're top 3 skilled team in this tournament. They have the same issue as all the high-skilled teams, where they try to do too much stuff, and they end up losing the games themselves. It happened in Game 1 against, who they play? Newbie. They tried like some Naga combos, and that ended up losing the game. You guys could have played calm and win their game.
Oh yeah, I remember the exact moment you were talking about, where they slept the entire Newbie team in mid lane, and then engaged a little needlessly, got silenced in an enormous Disruptor ultimate. Lost most of their roster.
So they're too next level for their own good.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of funny how, as you get good at a game, it's just as important to stop doing things as it is to learn to do things. Sometimes it's all about just getting small edges.
You see here, EG's opening is something that we talked about a little bit earlier, is that EG like going for these heroes that can go to multiple lanes and have kind of multiple positions, so it becomes a little bit harder to read them. Right now they have both, like, their bottom and Sanking, and they can be played in different positions, both of them. Yeah. So it's kind of hard for Empire right now to predict what EG are going to do, and I think, to me, it looks like EG are kind of just fishing for information. They're taking two heroes that they really like playing, and they're kind of just waiting for Empire to reveal what direction they're going to go.
Yeah, I mean, Mirana, Universe, and Sumail both have played Mirana in this tournament.
I think Artur has also played it at some point.
Oh, really?
And I'm not sure if they have, I don't know if they have played ever Safe Lane Bottom, but that used to be a thing. Yeah, they might have, so they can play it in.
But now it's day, so Nightstalker has to chill for a bit. Might see Zai take a lane, get some levels, or go pull, while the pressure keeps being put on from both sides. So Arteezy's having a great start this game on the Terrorblade, that's worth mentioning. He will be getting very to base here by Ghostic, so that consistent harassment is starting to play a role in limiting Arteezy's farm.
Well, he's had to burn so much mana to stay up on that top lane.
Yeah.
It's the harassment is pushing him towards the tower, so there was a time he just had to retreat, but we'll regen up, TP back up to the top lane, and then it's a rinse and repeat. In 35 seconds, he'll assault the tier 1 tower, and more than likely this time he'll kill it if Empire can't stop him.
I don't think they're going to let him, though. I think they want to fight for that tower and maybe sacrifice their bottom one. This bottom tower will be hard for them to defend against these Treant scouting. The potential rotation of the puck is excellent for fights in that area of the map. We'll see. For now, it's just Universe starting to push down this bottom lane, and there's no real contesting from Empire. It doesn't even look like they're just going to sacrifice this completely. All of them are moving away. EG with a good ward at the Shrine. We'll see the AA conceding this area, and should mean Empire are going to cross the map and try to do the same thing on top.
Everyone's seeing everything. Everyone can make really good choices. Even the Observer Ward watching Arteezy farm. And allow the Nyx Assassin to understand exactly what he can get away with, and allow Ghostic to start pressuring into that tier 1 tower. Send an illusion in, just drag the creep wave off. Arteezy is not giving the opportunity for Empire to really attack in. Instead, they're trying to force the rotations, having Universe beat into the tier 1 tower on bottom. FN's Invis room might help them turn this fight around. But then again, there's only one of them here. There's no other help. Resolution's farming up in the small triangle jungle of Empire.
You got a big stack there.
Bullseye. Bullseye. There's your Void. He hasn't finished the job. FN had to leap himself away. Universe going to stay on the run. Crit trying to get in front of him as well. He's got Spinner Blast off cooldown right now. Doesn't have anything to really bounce it off. And FN with 8-1 charges decides it's not worth it. Zai, get the hell out of there. Face boots and around the trees. Under sub 100 HP. Nightstalker retreating from the fight.
And there we go with the tower trade. So top tower goes to Ghostic. Still working on that Force Staff. He's halfway. Sumail will pick up the Veil here, so a lot of damage is now available for EG. Might want to look for a fight, but as was pointed out by Tomato, this Nyx Assassin is a dangerous matchup when now that Roger gets his level 6, he's actually immediately going to TP bottom and use his Vendetta. He's going to look for a kill straight away on this Nature's Prophet, who, by the way, also has a bad matchup against Nyx.
But a perfect time to TP out. So
great read.
Bad matchup, easy if you have that mobility that comes from the TPs, be it from his scroll or his natural ability. And he's going for Orchid first after the drums phase boots. So looking for a straight up silence. Who do you think it's actually meant to focus on? Is it the Venomancer control?
It's good against multiple heroes in this game. I think targeted silences are very difficult to deal with for Nyx. They have Nightstalker and the Orchid then. And even the Puck silence to work with. Orchid against Mirana is outstanding. And like you said, Venomancer. If they can prevent Veno from getting spells off in the fight, they've already come a long way in terms of having the advantage. So.
EG.
Next smoke movement. Still no level
They're looking for resolution. They really want to kill on resolution. That Dire Observe Ward has already revealed the fact that he's farming up the Ancient. So Puck will come in first. They need a quick silence on him. And, well, not actually happening. He'll get the Stormbolt onto the crit. And it may be enough damage. The Dreamform actually grabbing Ghostic. Wrath of Nature bouncing through from Nature's Prophet. Gave them that little bit of extra damage and Universe the kill. But EG are happy with what they got. They're getting the hell out of there. Keep resolution down.
Key kill.
Roger. If he can get this done, he can synergize with that. Actually, FN doesn't have arrow. It's 3 seconds before it comes back off cooldown. but he's watching Zai very closely. Through the trees, the stun will connect. Here comes your arrow. It'll only be a 2-second stun. The 2 seconds may be enough. Stick charge is available. Night Stalker cannot get up into the air and away.
Pretty unconventional build from Roger here, by the way. Well, maybe not so much, actually, but it looks like he went 2-1-2. I like this build a lot over the 3-1-1 just because of the Spike Carapace ability to set up your Impale. Maybe this is becoming more standard, but at least looking back over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot more focus on the Impale. But the second point Carapace makes that stun 1.2, and that is enough to get off the Impale. Against heroes like Puck, that's really important, because then you can coil, or you can Carapace the orb and then get your stun off guaranteed. It's also great against other heroes in this game, such as the Wyvern. The Splinter Blast can target you, and then you can counterplay that way. There's many ways of using Carapace in this game. He's actually going to max it out. He's going 2-1-3. This is when it's weird. Now it's really unusual.
Plus 0.6 seconds is what he's looking for.
Yeah, lower cooldown as well. It's
5 seconds lower.
This spell scales incredibly well. But so does Impale. And you know, a lot of the time you want to have that damage. But this control of Carapace can definitely be very powerful.
Well, right now, again, he's looking for a target under the cover of Vendetta. Nothing really offering itself as Resolution. Farming still underneath that Dire Observer wall. They didn't realize that gank was because EG had vision. Until now. Sentry Ward gets planted down. Maposhka, even just putting it a little bit further north so he's able to check out the Ancient camp. The rest of Empire putting their attention towards the mid-tier 1. And support's coming in. Wyvern will arrive. Splinter Blast is a great D-pusher. And man doesn't want to stick around for that. So is the Orb. Very difficult to push into the EG towers when EG are prepared.
This Terrorblade game really fun. Arteezy's having a great start so far. Pretty much uncontested on 156 CS minute 14. So currently at about 11 CS a minute. We'll get a 15-minute Manta style for his efforts. And I think in this game he also has a better core matchup. It's not perfect. I think there are problems. Again, Farm Sven can mess with Terrorblade quite well, and there's some decent AoE damage, but it doesn't feel like that last PL game, which just seems like semi-hopeless at times. Arteezy can definitely play a big game here. And it's interesting to see that this is in some ways similar to what Liquid ended up doing on when their backs were against the wall, where they had Miracle farm a troll for what seemed like an eternity, and then he really started carrying in that game. Maybe EG have decided to just adopt that style here.
It's going to be difficult for him. Like, farm him up, but Resolution's also taking that very greedy farm build again. Oh, it's like very greedy, like just more orientated towards an Echo Saber plus Mask of Madness. He's rinsing and repeating from game 1. It worked, but Arteezy definitely has a better start than game 1. And with the Observer Ward and Sentry down, they're trying to contest as much of the Ancients as possible.
I came in a little bit late, and Roger was also in a good position. You saw him use the Spike Carapace there in anticipation of the orb from Sumail. Didn't come out, however.
Sumail's now going to have to commit his orb to the mid lane to hold it off. Arteezy creates a couple of illusions, and then we'll look towards the bottom lane with Metamorphosis available. There should be a tier 2 tower to be taken. The trade-off is FN doing damage to the top tier 2 tower, getting space as well. Dire quickly scanning, wondering if anybody is coming in behind the mid lane. Not happening. The fortification is burnt, and this tier 2 tower is lost, and so is a lot of the access to Team Empire's jungle, losing both the towers on the bottom as well as the one in the mid.
Terrorblade looks so terrifying sometimes.
Roger, he just wanted to interfere with Arteezy's movement universe. Maybe he's able to get a control. Zai's moving forward. There goes your first controller. He doesn't have Invis, but the Spike Carapace can't complete the TP, however. 4 heroes from EG come in, and maybe now Arteezy, he's got a little bit longer with that Metamorphosis, and the army of Treants, they can push in heavier. He's right there. The Ice Blast is a big radius, connects on 2 of the heroes. In fact, 3 with the chill on Arteezy. They're backing up. Spence coming in. Resolution. Universe going to try and block him out with the trees. Resolution will have to run around. Arteezy needs some distance, but we've still got that Sunder. Level up and available. Looks to use it. Dropping Ghostic down low. Crit, he's got the curse up as well. So they have counter team fight. And the coated Venomancer. Real issues. The Splinter Blast bounces through the arrow and hits on the crit. He's dying to the poison sting in the trees. But Sumail jumped into the fight as well. Lets the Dream Call go. Resolution FN locked in with the Ice Blast back up again. Sumail has to evade the damage as long as he possibly can, but he can't evade it for that long. FN already on top of him. So EG, some chip damage to the tier 3 tower, losing a couple of heroes. Is it worth it?
I don't think so. That looked like a good jump from Sumail, but nobody was there to take advantage of the coil. Arteezy was already way out of there. The Wyvern had used his spells and got arrowed. And then you're looking at Night Stalker, doesn't really want a team fight, you know, as we've talked about multiple times, not really a team fight hero. And Nature's Prophet had already used his ulti, so it's cool and all that you go in with the puck like this, but where's the follow-up damage? It's just not there. And then Nyx Assassin Carapace. You know what? It sucks playing puck against this hero. It really sucks. But they chose it willingly. They knew that Nyx Assassin was in the pool when they grabbed it, and Empire were pretty quick to respond with this mix of Roger. He's been having a good game so far, but even though that didn't go too well for EG on the base siege, they still got the tier 2. Arteezy survived again. He's getting very farmed, but Rezo is once again, as you said, catching up. The Sven is actually only 400 net worth behind this Terrorblade now.
Yep. So the Terrorblade finally increases his attack range, finishing up the Dragonlance, and that is going to be the big thing. We understand Skadi comes in later for the Terrorblade, and you can start to kite the Sven out. That'll probably be the next thing we could look towards. How does Team Empire, with all of this net worth, actually turn that net worth into damage which is inflicted into EG? What are the problems they're going to have in the team fights?
You know, there's a lot of things to keep in mind for both teams when they go into these fights.
Resolution, blink, stun, Ice Blast. Okay, that Ice Blast doesn't even arrive. Resolution committed God Strength. With Mask of Madness and Echo Saber, not a chance to survive for Crit.
This is one of those relatively unimportant kills. Like, Crit gets killed, he tried to push out the wave, he gets jumped by 2 heroes, one of them uses, or they both use their ultimates, but there's no building damage.
They run towards
okay,
mid.
Maybe if it transitions into...
You still got the God Strength, he phase shifts, the arrow won't connect, the dust is over on the next assassin, so they have the vision. Silence also returned. Roger, the Spike Carapace makes it impossible for Samel to get back down the hill as he hit him with that illusionary orb. But Arteezy's coming in, sending illusions to scout around the northern side.
And they're gonna hold their tower, so... All right here for EG. Now the question is this going to be a repeat of game number 1? EG have a good early game, their lanes are going pretty well, they have the farm on a couple of heroes. This is when they need to come up big compared to the first game. But you look at the team fight of Empire and it just looks like taking fights for EG is going to be really difficult. They don't have the same kind of team fight prowess, so maybe what you're looking towards is combining your Night Stalker and Nature's Prophet to find kills, but it just seems like they've fallen off a little bit. Their peak is early on into the game, and those moves just didn't really exist for them.
You're still waiting for that big item to arrive for Nature's Prophet. Like, he has the phase boots and drums, but there was no increase of damage that comes from something like a Maelstrom. He's still trying to complete up that Orc with the Malevolence. Now, this is an easier thing to find. The Venomancer actually being pushed forward. Dreamcall cancelling his TP. And completely surrounded the north side. That was his own Force Staff, trying to get further away from the Night Stalker to do his TP, but into the arms of the rest of EG.
Kill going to Arteezy, so he takes first place on net worth again. What else have we got coming up? So Manta just got completed by the Mirana just a minute ago. The Terrorblade is building into the ward Kite. Soon we have both teams trying to build Solar Crest. Venomancer has the Medallion. Zai is close to his Medallion.
They found Maposhka, Ancient Apparition, on the run away from Zai. Extra support comes in. The Ice Blast is nice. Zai going to get cold feeded, but they have enough life to survive. It is only a level 1 Ice Blast on the Ancient Apparition.
EG look like they're having a better time making moves. This Night Stalker is contributing a lot. Zai has set up 8 out of 9 kills for his team. Constantly roaming around, gathering information. Still without wings. What does it look like when he flies? Has he flown yet this game?
It looks...
It's like just flailing in the air, like flapping?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
It's when he realizes he didn't skip arm day. His arms just let him beat the wind into submission.
I feel like the hero should just look like this.
Just clipped. I feel he'll be very less impressive with his Immortal. Spike Carapace stung Crystal with the Winter Wyvern. Getting hit up by that Spike Carapace once more. Every time unless that shard's out, it's just too much of a chance that's going to be reflected.
EG have done a very good job at not losing this mid tower. It's 21 minutes in. The top tower fell relatively early, but Empire haven't managed to take another structure just yet. Both towers for EG are low, so they will eventually be falling, but just delaying it this much has allowed Arteezy to get a lot of additional farm because they've kept the map control in their favor.
The same for Universe.
They're looking for something bottom here. Rezo would be a really big kill. He's hiding off on the sides, but Night Stalker will get eyes on him now.
Yep.
Could try to surround him from both sides.
He doesn't have his BKB yet, putting the urn on him, going to make it difficult to get away. Here comes Universe, gives the extra vision, plus the Orchid Silence onto Sven. The damage will be more than enough. Resolution will fall, 50 seconds on the sideline. Image was chasing Nyx Assassin, turns on the Spike Carapace. Zai, fancy footwork, and now dusting up. Nyx Assassin TPing out. Is there enough damage? There is when Samel arrives with the Rift. And that is a big opening. You've actually got the push Metamorphosis up for a fair amount of time. The only thing which isn't working here for EG is the fact that Arteezy doesn't have a creep wave to push into the tier 3 tower to force a reaction from Empire.
He doesn't have any mana either, so he can't make any illusions anymore, and he's just gonna, you know, be happy with what he got. I believe he did get the kill on the Sven, which is another big influx of gold for the Terrorblade, overtaking him by a lot at this point.
Got 305 gold for that kill.
Still, though, similar to game number 1, it's not Empire with one farming core. It's not just this Sven that you're looking out for. FN is having another great game. He's really farmed 10 CS a minute, similar net worth to that of the Sven, and they're both way ahead of the puck. So a lot of pressure on this Terrorblade to deliver with all the space that Arteezy has been given. He needs to play a good game here later on, because when you look at their lineup, once again, the control of their lineup, the team fight is, I would say, inferior to that of Empire. So when push comes to shove and they need to go high ground, Arteezy needs to be big and he needs to not be out of position.
Well, here's the danger zone. We always said it was around the 25 to 20 minute mark for Evil Geniuses. We're smack bang plumb in the middle of that. And Empire smoking up. They were looking towards something. Originally, I think it was a gank on mid, but they turned their attention towards the Roche pit. No easy way for EG to scout it out right now, because Universe doesn't have any treants in the neighborhood. A Moonlight Shadow even being cast, and they are fine. Team Empire, they will take Roshan, not to mention EG Smoke. It just got broken. Roger is here into the cover. Moonlight Shadow gets a double stun into the double ice blast. This is exactly what EG didn't want. Samael is trapped. Where's the save? He blinks up off Chon. Yulsepter protecting him. He'll Chon up Samael. He will survive and escape from Team Empire. But the damage is done. Roshan is still in the hands of Team Empire. Aegis the Immortal belongs to FN.
Very nice play from both sides in that situation. Roger setting up the beautiful two-hero stun, and Samael quick under pressure to get out of that situation. Needed to cast his spells in that exact sequence, in that exact way to get out of that. Does manage to survive. Still, as you said, the Aegis does go the way of Empire. And this is one of the benefits you have of Nyx Assassin, is just that when you go for a play like that, you feel pretty comfortable. They didn't seem to hesitate for a moment there, Empire. They just run into the pit, Nyx is scouting outside. Okay, they're not coming here. We feel like, okay, they're not going to contest, and they just take it from 100 to 0 with no flinching at all.
Yep. It's also interesting, too, the fact that EG, like, they did smoke up, the smoke broke, but there was no instant detection. This allowed the Nyx Assassin to set up for that double stun.
Nightstalker actually had dust on him, but I think Zai wasn't confident that he... First of all, maybe that Nyx broke their smoke, and secondly, where he was at that point in time. Now he's got eyes on Zai. This is a dead Nightstalker, Toby. He's very dead.
Ice Blast, Storm Bolt, and it is easy as slice.
He could have tried to fly, but two problems with that. It was daytime, and he lost his wings this patch. So, you know, what are you going to do?
I sense you having real issues with this. Universe doing Universe things, pushing down towards the bottom lane with a Splinter Blast. Yeah, go by Yulsepter.
Okay.
Crit is actually helping with the Splinter Blast. So Universe actually going to get some good momentum into the tier 3 tower. The trade-off is still Empire taking the mid tier 2. But you can definitely see the idea here. Oh, wow, that TP, are you going to complete that one? Samael's coming in. The Yulsepter stopping the from getting out there. They got that gem of True Sight over on the puck, but Samael, as quickly as he got it, he will lose it. It's now in the hands of Nyx Assassin. Evil Geniuses. 25 minutes. This is the dead zone for EG.
This is really bad news. Samael, it seemed like a little bit of disconnect in what they wanted to do. So Nature's Prophet had that good push going on bottom, but he didn't dare to go for the high ground push. And then at the same time, Samael is coming in trying to stop these TPs, but stopping those TPs is nice, but doesn't have that big of an impact when you already gave up on the push on the bottom lane. And now high ground time for Empire.
That Observer Ward on the bottom, it saw the fact that Arteezy wasn't in position with that Splinter Blast. They can keep their creep wave alive long enough, and the fact there's no puck, there's no Dream Core. The two counter pushes from EG to protect the high ground are lost. The attack damage on the tower is on 1 HP. Let your Illusion attack it, that'll do the work. The Catapult finishes the job, and TP's out. Resolution will be happy. Maposhka, the Void, it'll cancel off his TP as Zai hits the ground and kills off the Ancient Apparition.
Wow, he has 3 smokes as well. Oh, bonus nice kill time.
Venomancer going down, that is a nice bonus.
They still lost the tier 3. EG are not happy right now with how this is going. Like these last couple of minutes have been very bad for them. They know the Aegis is still on the side of Empire, sitting on that Mirana, who, by the way, is getting really, really farmed. So here we go. There's the Yulsepter, and I believe the coil is going to come out now, but the stun from Nyx even missing. But Sven made so hard. So Samael has used all of his cooldowns. That defensive Yule not available when you use it aggressively. Phases on cooldown. and does not look too happy with himself in that moment. Definitely not the best play in that situation coming up.
Yeah, they definitely needed more numbers if he was going to go for that. Right now they have the numbers against the Nyx Assassin getting caught. Here comes Aegis Prophet, as well the Silence TP won't complete. So the Gem of True Sight.
Oh, he gave it back. That
actually just gave it back.
That is very important for EG. So that's the best. I mean, debatable. Maybe it's a better kill than a core. Like, this gem is really, really important. You don't want EG in the same position as last game where they lose complete control of the map and don't dare to go out. At least they have better split push this game, arguably, with the Nature's Prophet and the Terrorblade illusions to try to get the waves out. But still, in some ways, it seems like we're watching the same archetype of game play out here. And EG need to make sure the same mistakes don't happen again.
Zven getting bigger and having no easy, quick answer to him. There is more answers in this game for Evil Geniuses. And as long as they can keep that vision up, like that's probably the bigger difference between Game 1 and Game 2. Now they have this Gem of True Sight back. They get rid of both the aggressive Observer wards from Team Empire. Team Empire now have no wards on the map. The only one they have is in the stock of the Ancient Apparition with 4 sentries. So might be a good idea to see when that Observer Ward goes down, just so we can see the mentality of Team Empire. Do they hold back? Do they wait this off? Aegis Immortal's going to get reclaimed, so in 3 minutes time, Roshan could spawn up for the teams. This may be the next attention point for both sides. Continue to farm up. Empire will still be happy as long as Resolution continues to get bigger and bigger. And Ghosty gets more and more space as well. That experience per minute, let it rock.
Can't forget about the Mirana.
You really can't.
FN is farm, man. He's got 15,000 net worth. He is currently sitting at 3,000 ahead of the Nature's Prophet and the Puck, who are, of course, ahead of that Benno, but I would say this Mirana net worth can become very, very strong later on. This hero scales pretty well, gets a damage talent at level 20, has high agility gain.
He was the unsung hero of Game 1 on that Ember Spirit, and now EG, maybe they do something about him. FN farming up the Ancients, EG have no vision of that high ground. Crit putting down the sentry wall, they see the Observer, and then they get a glimpse of FN for a moment, but Samael just used his orb to help push out the mid lane, and the rest of Empire are converging on the position. They're even going to Moonlight Shadow, but thanks to the Observer and Sentry Ward, they still actually don't see anything. They're smoked up as well as Moonlight Shadow, double the layer of protection for Team Empire.
The only hero Roger doesn't want to run into right now is the Puck. He has the gem. Anyone else is a kill.
Well, they found Crit, or maybe they've found Crit. Zai's down here as well. Sentry Ward placed, no Observer Ward. That smoke still hasn't broken yet. Maposhka's so close to it, but it's at the end of the smoke time, so they won't realize that smoke broke because of them. Crit lets off the Splinter Blast, and there's your first stun. Zai, he's running as quickly as he can. The arrow flies forward from FN, it won't hit the target. Zai, keep running without wings, he's more aerodynamic. Moving up and over the hill, Blast won't be able to catch him. Zai, keep on running. Run, Zai, run! Roger. Can't catch him. Ghostic, at least the Plague Ward is down, and he is away. He's going to make it back to the dire side of the river after running from the Tier 2 tower on bottom lane.
I wonder if this is how the first people envisioned flying would be. You know, you just flap your arms. You know, oh, okay. Works well. All right, Zai gets out of there. Empire could have probably got 2 kills there if they weren't so hungry to go for the Wyvern. Both of them made the jump at the same time. They committed both stuns onto Crit, and Zai is happy and lucky to survive in that moment. And maybe EG now, they're converging. 4 of them are grouped up, but they don't want to smoke. They actually don't have a smart one anymore.
But they have a double damage in the bottle of Arteezy.
He's so ready to fight.
Yeah,
Butterfly.
He really, really wants to.
This is a very strong Terrorblade, but still no BKB, and that means he's susceptible to this magic damage, and they have no save against that. They only have the Cold Embrace, no Glimmer Cape yet, I believe. Wyvern doesn't have it, he's building toward it. Zai is going for a Heaven's Halberd this time around against the Sven, an item that they were definitely missing in that previous game.
Roshan
to control.
Think about the time, man.
Yep.
3 seconds until it could potentially be up.
And we got ourselves a slightly above average stun.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock.
Actually, a decent amount above average.
I wonder exactly what the average full time is. I don't have those stats available.
I can tell you by power of maths that it should be something about 9.5 minutes, Toby, because the spawn time is between 8 and 11.
Do we want to flip a coin? Did your math skills get applauded?
If that's impressive. Then we got ourselves some NA math in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, a Danish education right there. All right, so Roshan, obviously EG can keep their eyes on it. The arrows are being thrown out from Mirana. That'll allow FN to scout out the pit too. As both teams, they can look to try and hold this. The only downside for Team Empire is their fastest pusher in the lane is still going to be this man, and he needs to come down and push the lane now. With the +4 triggers being summoned by Universe, he does get a lot of push whenever he summons the trees as he comes to the lane, and he will keep the split push going. So we have to look towards the BTs. Hilariously enough, no one from Empire actually has BTs. It's always going to be the TP scroll.
Yeah, BOTs are item. It's an item that you might want to get on the Mirana next after this.
Oh, Ghostic. He's going to walk in. A quick push out with his 4-star, and they commit the Moonlight Shadow.
That's another smoke from EG that doesn't really bear fruit. The last one, did they get a kill with their last smoke? I don't even remember.
Seems like an eternity ago. Math has clouded our judgment.
They've got a pretty good amount of vision in this game, like you pointed out. And the feel of the game is different. Like this time, we're getting further into the game, and it doesn't seem like EG in the same way are losing out on the gold grab. It's more or less stabilized. Experience favoring Empire a little bit. That's the Veno talent. I would attribute a lot of that to. But EG still, they're looking better. I notice still that X factor that we've seen from EG in the past just